Chapter 701. People are not easy to rob, so Coulson comes to recruit hatred, bound by chains, struggled desperately. Hulk seized the opportunity, grabbed a piece of chain from the ground, and wrapped it tightly around Hatred's neck. Sensing the imminent danger, Hatred fought back fiercely, striking Hulk with his elbows. But Hulk's grip remained unyielding. Gradually, a yellow-green bruise formed on Hatred's neck. His resistance weakened until he finally succumbed to suffocation, dying with a look of unwillingness. "It's over," Aaron muttered. "Not necessarily," Tony replied, curling his lips and pointing meaningfully at the armed helicopter above, as well as the police and soldiers gradually surrounding them. The searchlight shone down, illuminating Hulk. "Ross must have forgotten to take his medicine, sending these people to deal with the Hulk," Tony said with a hint of ridicule. "I don't know if the human wave tactic will work, but a lot of people will definitely die." Hulk looked up and roared at the sky, his green eyes fixed on the armed helicopter. Through the glass window, he saw a worried look on a woman's face, and a moment of softness flashed in his eyes. Then, with all his strength, he leaped and ran wildly into the distance, quickly disappearing from sight. "It's really over now," Tony said, somewhat relieved. But the next moment, his expression became subtle as the searchlight swept over them, and the surrounding soldiers remained vigilant, maintaining a fighting posture. "Alas," Aaron sighed. "As expected, they came for me. Tony, if I'm taken away by the military, remember to find someone to get me." "Don't worry, you'll be fine," Tony snorted disdainfully. "I've dealt with these people too many times. There's nothing wrong with you. They can't do anything to you." "Really?" "Nonsense. You are a hero in this incident. If you want, you might even get a medal." "No need," Aaron laughed softly. "I just want to live a stable life." The armed helicopter landed, and as soon as Ross stepped off, a Quinjet landed steadily nearby. The cockpit door slowly opened, revealing Coulson and several of his agents. "You came just in time," Aaron said scornfully, though he felt a bit relieved. He could predict the military's next move towards him. As Tony said, they had no reason to harm him. They might even have to express some gratitude, though there would be some trouble. But with S.H.I.E.L.D.'s involvement, it was a different matter. Neither official organization could act against the other, giving him a chance to escape. Coulson disembarked and greeted Ross with a smile. "Why isn't Nick Fury here?" Ross asked, clearly dissatisfied. "The director has other matters," Coulson replied, "but he takes the Hulk incident very seriously. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent a Quinjet to bring me here." Ross's face darkened. "Blonsky is the property of the military. S.H.I.E.L.D. has no reason. The director has discussed it with the top brass of the Security Council. S.H.I.E.L.D. has the right to request compensation from the military," Coulson said gently but firmly, silently cursing Nick Fury for making him negotiate with the resolute General Ross. "What do you want in return?" Ross asked, barely containing his anger. "The director suggests that S.H.I.E.L.D. can send a team of scientists to work with the military to study the body over there." "Impossible," Ross refused outright. He had proposed and organized the research on the Super Soldier Project. It was his hard work. The idea of S.H.I.E.L.D. wanting to share the fruits of his labor under the guise of cooperation was unacceptable. Coulson was about to respond when the voice of his director came through his earpiece. After pondering for a moment, he continued. For a moment, he looked at Ross meaningfully and said, "With S.H.I.E.L.D. involved, the General's plan will face fewer obstacles." Ross was speechless, his expression uncertain. This time, Blonsky had caused such a big mess, and Ross knew he must take considerable responsibility. The Super Soldier Project might be urgently halted. Although S.H.I.E.L.D.'s involvement meant they would seize the fruits of his labor, it would at least allow the plan to continue, and he would still have the military's high hopes. Punishment was inevitable, but after the news passed, he would remain a powerful general. Nick Fury. Ross took a deep breath, reluctantly agreeing. "Okay, I agree to cooperate." "Can I go?" Aaron interrupted, clearly uncomfortable. He didn't want to stay any longer, especially since he was surrounded by soldiers with live ammunition. "What's your name?" Ross asked Aaron, trying to be as polite as possible to express his goodwill. "Aaron Gaius," Coulson answered for him. "He and I met a few months ago." The implication was clear. S.H.I.E.L.D. had already pre-booked Aaron, and Ross couldn't snatch him away. "Just an acquaintance?" Ross grasped the key point, a slight smile forming at the corners of his mouth. Gaius, are you interested in becoming a soldier? I can personally recommend you and guarantee that you'll become a rising star in the military. General, our shield, Coulson began. Shield, Ross interrupted, slapping his forehead in a daze. Your director was really helpful this time. He personally notified me to ask the soldiers to lead Blonsky to Gaius. Otherwise, the casualties would probably be much higher than they are now. Coulson was speechless. When Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. heard this, he cursed under his breath. His plan to recruit Aaron Gaius through military pressure had backfired, making it much more troublesome to recruit him now. Aaron silently gave Ross a thumbs up in his mind. He had already analyzed the situation, but Ross pointing it out gave him more leverage when dealing with S.H.I.E.L.D. Dude, you're really popular, Tony teased. Okay, I roughly understand the situation, Aaron said with a slight smile. General, I appreciate your kindness, but I really don't want to be a soldier. Are you sure you don't want to consider it? Ross advised earnestly. You're young, strong, and sensible. If you join the army, you'll definitely have a bright future. No, I'm quite satisfied with my current life. Ross was silent for a moment. The military's door is open to you at any time. If you change your mind, you can find me at the nearest military base. Okay, Aaron nodded politely. By the way, I wonder if the general can do me a small favor? Go ahead, Ross replied. Well, I don't want too many people to know about tonight's incident. I run a business, and having a great reputation isn't necessarily a good thing. I understand, but there's a limit to what I can do. After all, tonight's event was too big. S.H.I.E.L.D. can help, Coulson said, slightly embarrassed. You won't appear on TV. Chapter 702, The Benefits of Joining S.H.I.E.L.D. I apologize to you on behalf of our director, Coulson said, pursing his lips. From your perspective, his actions are unforgivable, and even death might seem too lenient. But to be honest, in his position, he has to consider the greater good. In a high position, you can't always act freely. I understand that, Aaron replied with a smile, but that doesn't mean I have to like it or believe in it. I understand completely, Coulson nodded. So, do you want to join? I refuse. So straightforward, Coulson raised an eyebrow in surprise. I thought you would at least consider it before rejecting. What's there to consider? Aaron asked. I have millions in savings in my own store. Why would I risk my life by joining your Secret Service organization for some benefits and a salary that might not even reach 5 figures? Don't you have any ideals, any desire to do something for the world? To be honest, yes, Aaron said, pouring himself a cup of tea and taking a slow sip. When I was a child, I wanted to be a hero admired by thousands. But later I realized that being a hero isn't that easy. Before my adventure with Gandalf, my biggest wish was to work diligently, inherit my father's property step by step, and then rest on my laurels. Coulson's mouth twitched. He couldn't really comment on Aaron's simple wish. If possible, he would also like to rest on his laurels, but unfortunately, he didn't have that luxury. What about after the adventure? I mean now. Aaron clapped his hands and motioned for Coulson to look at him. Do you think I'm a rich man? Well, a millionaire is at least richer than me. Am I capable? Yes, just like you said, you are much better than the average person. I am rich, capable, young, handsome, and have a high IQ. I didn't learn how to kill, set fires, or loot. In a sense, that's also a contribution to society. Hearing this, Coulson was momentarily speechless. It seemed to make sense, but no, he was here to recruit for a shield, not to reason. Maybe what you said is right, but... Coulson pondered for a few seconds. Do you know why I came to see you today? I don't know, and I'm not interested in knowing either. First, to wait for the news of the Hulk incident to pass, and second, to let you have a good rest for a while. Very few people get this kind of treatment. It sounds like it's for my own good, but it doesn't make any sense at all. Aaron smiled cynically. Besides, I'm not a fool, so don't sugarcoat it. I am an innocent person, and I have nothing to do with you. Of course, there's nothing you can do against me. Then, let's be practical, Coulson shrugged. You are already on General Ross's radar. He investigated all your information after that night. S.H.I.E.L.D. has smoothed out some flaws for you, but this isn't always safe. Isn't this all thanks to you? That's why I came here today. Coulson said, taking out a paper document and a black signature pen from his briefcase. Join an official organization so you can avoid the threat of the military. Trust me, there's nothing like S-Shield. Aaron didn't even look at the document. I also have some friendship with Tony. As long as I abide by the law, Stark Industries lawyers can litigate for me at any time. I believe there is still law in this world. Besides, no matter how fancy your words are, the essence is to ask me to do some life-threatening and dangerous work for you, right? You can't say that, Coulson explained with a smile. Your situation is quite special. Even if it is a dangerous job, it still depends on your willingness, and we will provide generous rewards to match. Willingness? I've seen S-Shield's ability to deceive people, and sometimes I can't refuse. As for the reward, no matter how much money you offer, it won't be enough to make me risk my life. Aaron dismissed the offer with a wave of his hand. Past experience tells me that it's happier to be selfish, so don't try to morally kidnap me with words, lel. Ike world peace. I love peace too, but to be honest, it has little to do with me. Coulson remained non-committal, then hesitantly took out a silver bracelet from his pocket. Then put this on. Aaron, feigning puzzlement, asked, "What is this?" "It's a tracking device," Coulson said frankly. "I don't want to lie to you. Supervising people like you who pursue a stable life is one of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s responsibilities. Just be careful. If you don't cause trouble now, you might not cause trouble in the future." "What if I don't wear it?" Aaron inquired. "It doesn't matter if you don't wear it. This bracelet not only makes it easier for us to find you, but it also makes it easier for us to rescue you." "Rescue?" Aaron's face twitched slightly, as if he had thought of something. "Isn't that an exaggeration? Ordinary people don't know about the fight between you and Blonsky that night, but many people at the scene saw it. In other words, it's only a matter of time before you come into the sight of other organizations and someone might attack you." Aaron pretended to be nervous and swallowed hard. "So, I have to choose between the bracelet or documents, right?" "This is for your protection," Coulson said seriously. "If you don't need it, I can convince the director." Aaron struggled for a moment, then drank all the tea on the table. "Let's talk about the benefits of joining S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, no problem." Coulson breathed a sigh of relief. He was more worried than Aaron. If Aaron chose the bracelet, his visit today would be in vain, and there would be no reason to ask him to join S.H.I.E.L.D. in the near future. "First of all, you can't ask me to do life-threatening jobs, or I have the right to refuse." "Yes, I agree on behalf of the director," Coulson smiled. What Fury really valued was Aaron's pharmaceutical ability, weapon design, and divination skills. If such a person wanted to be a soldier, they wouldn't be able to part with him. What if something happened to him in an accident? "Secondly, my status cannot be too low," Aaron said with a bitter smile. "I can reluctantly join S.H.I.E.L.D., but you can't give me a job sweeping floors. Don't get me wrong, I'm not looking down on cleaners, but that's insulting to a millionaire like me. Level 6 authority comes with a basic salary of more than $10,000, which is more than most agents," Coulson said directly. "The highest authority in S.H.I.E.L.D. is level 10, but there are only a few people, including the director, who have it. Don't laugh, but I've worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. for nearly 20 years, and I only have level 8 authority." "Sounds good," Aaron nodded slightly. "Agent Coulson, how about we talk while we eat?" Chapter 703, The Key Material for the Antidote, Kilgrave's Threat. "Are you really not under his control?" Luke asked, looking directly into Aaron's eyes. "No," Aaron sighed quietly. "Hope was very scared at the time, so I made up a white lie to prove that Kilgrave was not invincible. Unfortunately, I am just an ordinary person. If you want to deal with Kilgrave, I'm afraid you've made the wrong move." "We don't have time to joke with you," Jessica said anxiously. "Kilgrave is already thinking of ways to strengthen his abilities. If he can't be stopped in time, do you think he will let you go after his abilities are strengthened?" That's really too bad," Aaron frowned slightly. "Thank you for reminding me. I have to run away quickly. How much does it cost to book a ticket to France?" "Can you stop being so timid?" Jessica laughed angrily. "Kilgrave hasn't succeeded yet. We still have time. Just kill him before his father strengthens his abilities." "What a great idea. Come on. The spirit is with you." "You," Jessica calmed down a little. We need your help. I can't help, Aaron refused bluntly. I won't get involved in matters related to superpowers, and I will hide as far away as I can. Hope was an accident, which means I didn't know about Kilgrave. Otherwise, I wouldn't have cared about it. By helping us, you are also helping yourself, Trish said seriously. Only by killing Kilgrave will you not be threatened, right? Hearing this, Aaron fell into a brief silence. Kilgrave was a clown to him, and it would only take a matter of minutes to kill him. However, the toad lies on the instep and does not bite. Last time we were in the hotel, killing Kilgrave would have been somewhat troublesome. But now that he is a well-organized person, it seems that there is no use in keeping that scumbag around. But killing, Aaron was inexplicably worried. After all, he had never killed anyone since he came to this world. Once the killing habit was broken, he might not be able to stop himself. It's really troublesome. Aaron scratched his hair in confusion. How do you want me to help? He really can't control you, right? Luke asked again. This is very important. We must be sure and give me a positive answer. Yes, Aaron nodded. I am not controlled by his ability. Luke was relieved, and Trish breathed a heavy sigh of relief. Great, we need your blood sample. Jessica got straight to the point. Kilgrave's father was developing an antidote, but he was kidnapped during this period and was forced to develop power-enhancing drugs for him. But the experimental equipment has been left behind, and we still have the last step, which is the blood of a person who is immune to his ability. What? Aaron's expression suddenly became extremely amused, and then he couldn't help laughing. He directly made a gesture of invitation, with his arm facing the door. Go out and walk slowly without seeing me off. Why? Jessica asked in confusion. Your attitude has changed too much. Gaius's blood is very precious, Aaron said patiently. Giving it to you for experiments just to deal with a scumbag is not only a despicable waste, but also an insult to my character. The three of them looked at each other, finding his words a bit too exaggerated. Isn't it just a few drops of blood? Is there anything you can't bear to part with? Luke was silent for a few seconds. I can't control that much. No, Luke, Jessica shook her head at him. Absolutely not. There is no other way. You'd better not stop me. Luke gritted his teeth and made a decision, then stood up from the sofa. I have to say sorry first, but knocking you unconscious may be the most convenient way. Aaron rolled his eyes and said speechlessly, Isn't it particularly satisfying to bully ordinary people? No, but this is a necessity. After taking care of Kilgrave, I'll find a way to make amends. Ha ha, Aaron chuckled. I see that you are not a bad person, otherwise you wouldn't have said such a thing. In this case, I will tell you a secret. My blood won't have any special effects unless I will it, and I can assure you it won't help in the fight against Kilgrave, I said firmly. You'll have to try to find out, Luke replied, stepping towards Aaron. But before he could get far, Aaron pointed a black gun at him. This city is very chaotic. I wouldn't dare open a store without a weapon, Aaron said calmly, holding the gun steady. Jessica, I advise your friend to back off. You know my shooting skills. That thing is useless to me, Luke said with a hint of pride. I am invulnerable. Aaron's eyes narrowed as he scrutinized the big man. After a few seconds, he came to a conclusion. Shit, he really does have skin like copper and bones like iron. The bullets in the flower of the other side are enchanted 5 times over. Even without magic, they're far more powerful than ordinary bullets. But if they can't break his skin, that would be hard to explain. Phew! Aaron took a deep breath. I stress again, don't force me. Luke remained unmoved and continued to advance. Boom! There was an explosion. A golden bullet grazed Luke's left shoulder, and a trace of blood bloomed on his skin. Hiss! Luke gasped, touching the scratch on his shoulder in disbelief. This is impossible. Jessica and Trish also widened their eyes, as if they had seen something incredible. Nothing is impossible, Aaron said. Invulnerability allows you to ignore most damage, but there is an upper limit to defense. The bullets in my gun are custom-made and cost over $10,000 each. You should be satisfied. This shot is a warning. If you dare to act wild in my store again, the next shot will pierce your skull, Aaron warned, putting away his gun. You are not guests. You are not welcome here. Luke looked at Jessica and sighed helplessly. He was at a loss. Neither force nor reason seemed to work. Wait a minute, Trish interjected suddenly. Can I buy something? The customer is always right, isn't that so? You are more knowledgeable than the two of them, Aaron said with a smile. You can look around if you want, but convincing me won't be easy. Trish smiled awkwardly and nodded, leading Jessica and Luke to explore the store. What should we do? Luke asked. This guy isn't affected by Kilgrave's ability, but he doesn't seem willing to cooperate with us. If you hadn't taken action, maybe we could have persuaded him, Trish said with a wry smile. But now, it's going to be much harder. Chapter 704. Free is absolutely impossible. Information is very important. Page 12. Are these prepared for us? Trish asked curiously, pointing to the dining cart. No, this is my lunch. I haven't eaten at noon, Aaron replied. Eating 3 servings for one person? Jessica asked in surprise. Aren't you afraid of dying? And theirs, Aaron pointed to Abe and Fox. They didn't eat at lunch either. After speaking, Aaron opened the plates one by one, keeping the largest portion for himself, Abe taking the larger portion, and Fox the smallest. Jessica and the others watched this scene, and the corners of their mouths couldn't help but twitch. On Aaron's plate was a roasted bird leg, but it looked bigger than his head. Abe's plate had a piece of grilled ribs, larger than a tomahawk steak. Fox's plate contained some minced meat to make it easier for him to eat, but there was also a bucket full of brandy, which Luke considered to be high-end goods. This scene, how should I put it? Jessica said with a forced smile. I feel insulted. Trish's face also looked a little strange. I've lived for more than 20 years, and today I've gained a lot of experience. My life is not as good as theirs, but I have to admit, the cat is really cute, and the bird is also very beautiful. Are they finished? Luke asked. Don't worry about these details, Aaron said, gnawing on the bird leg while looking at the 3 of them. If everything is okay, you can leave. I still think you should consider it carefully, Jessica said. Help us deal with Kilgrave together. I won't donate blood, and I don't like your attitude very much. You are the biggest threat to him, Trish said seriously. We need to take the initiative. Once his abilities are strengthened, it will be too late. Aaron chewed his food and waved his hands indifferently. Do you want me to join you? Unless you are willing to donate your blood and let us develop an antidote, Luke said bluntly. You may not know how terrifying his ability is, but we do. It is hell. You are the only one who can get close to him without being affected by his abilities, and the one most likely to kill him. Of course, you can also try to escape, Jessica said. But I know Kilgrave too well. He will not tolerate you. He will try his best to kill everyone around you and let you live in pain and guilt. Then, he will find a way to find you. It is not difficult for him to find someone. His ability can make all information open to him. Kilgrave is a scumbag, but his ability to torture and toy with people is absolutely world-class. It's terrible, Aaron said disdainfully, but it has no impact on me. My parents, relatives, and even friends are no longer in this world. As for finding me, Gobi Desert, overseas islands, if he has the courage, let him come. Jessica, what the hell? The oil and salt are not allowed to enter. Are you really willing to give up everything you have now? Trish asked meaningfully. I am alone and have no worries. As long as I have money, I am at home all over the world. It's so poetic. Just kidding, Aaron spread his hands. Do you have anything else to say? Kilgrave can control the police with guns, Jessica said. If you can't deal with dozens or hundreds of gunmen at the same time, you'd better cooperate with us. Is this a threat? Jessica nodded. He has controlled many people, and I think a lot of them are prepared for you. Hearing this, a trace of amusement appeared on the corner of Aaron's mouth. Just as he was about to say something, a system notification sounded in his mind. Wait a moment, I'll think about it. Aaron smiled slightly and then opened the task panel. Kill Kilgrave. Completing the mission will reward you with 1,000 magic points. There will be no penalty for mission failure. Do you accept it? All right, no need to hesitate now. The reward of 1,000 magic points is not too much for him, but he cannot give up, especially at this time. His magic energy is about 2. Aaron's magic energy needed to increase to 25,000 points. Once he consumed the Mingyu stone, his magic energy would rise by 1/5, promoting him directly to the rank of Holy Magister. However, If his magic energy exceeded 25,000 points, and he consumed the Dark Spirit Stone, he could still be promoted, but the growth cap would be limited to 30,000 points, which seemed somewhat wasteful. Unfortunately, he couldn't afford the Mingyu Stone with his current magic points, so this mission was a godsend. Except, Aaron decided without hesitation. This wasn't just about killing Kilgrave, it was a shortcut to becoming a Holy Magister. But simply agreeing to their terms felt like a disadvantage. Well, it's not that I can't help you, but you don't expect me to do it for free, right? Aaron said. What? Jessica was momentarily stunned. When she realized what he meant, her expression turned odd. Didn't I explain it clearly just now? Helping us is also helping yourself. In a sense, we're helping you eliminate a threat. It doesn't matter if we don't charge you. You still want to charge us? Hearing her confident statement, Aaron couldn't help but smile. Freedom doesn't work here. I'm not a superhero with a sense of justice. There are considerable risks in dealing with Kilgrave. If I'm not careful, I could die. Do you think a few words will trick me into dealing with a demon? Do I look that kind? How much do you want? Trish asked directly. 100,000. You might as well rob us, Luke said calmly. I'm sorry. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and robbery is punishable by jail time. I think the price is very appropriate. It may cause Miss Walker some pain, but it won't break her bones. Okay, 100,000 it is, Trish said, taking a deep breath. But I can't give it to you until we catch or kill him, and once you join, you can't quit halfway. Great. Aaron walked to a computer, typed on the keyboard, and soon a simple contract emerged from the printer. Gaius values the spirit of contracts very much. Take a look and sign if you have no problem. Trish, Jessica shook her head. 100,000 is too much. He's obviously robbing you. Yeah, but we need his help, and he's right. This is very risky. Suddenly, the cell phone on the table rang. Aaron looked at the caller ID and saw a series of unfamiliar numbers. Hello, Gaius Pepsi House. Hello. Kilgrave's voice came from the phone, and the three women immediately looked over. Originally, I didn't want to call you, but someone told me Jessica and her friends were in your store. Your information is really well informed. It seems you've been monitoring them, but I haven't decided yet whether I want to help them or not. Aaron replied, Chapter 705. There is no harm in following the rules, another person who is not under control. She told me about Kilgrave, Luke sighed softly. I didn't really believe it at first. Controlling people's thoughts sounds too outrageous. But I still tried to believe it and went looking for him because I felt Jessica would not kill innocent people indiscriminately. And then, did you find him? Yes, I found him, Luke said with lingering fear. It was a nightmare. I wanted to rush up and kill him, but when he opened his mouth, I stopped and followed him into the car. I knew what I was doing, but I couldn't resist or refuse. He asked me how I met Jessica. After learning about our relationship, he asked me to notify Jessica. When she arrived, he would detonate the bomb that had been placed in the bar in advance. That bar was the only thing left to me by Riva, my wife. It seems he didn't know about your copper skin and iron bones at the time, but now, it's hard to say. I must kill him, Luke said seriously. I understand your feelings very well, but killing someone is illegal. The worst-case scenario is going to jail. I have to avenge Riva. No. I mean, we have to find a lawyer in advance, and it's best to have evidence of Kilgrave's crime. It's useless. As long as he is alive, all evidence will be ineffective. What I'm talking about is the evidence that proves he died innocently and that we had to kill him. This evidence can allow us to be acquitted, Aaron said seriously. There are still laws in this world. Only by abiding by the rules can we be free. It will make you appear less alien, which does no harm to any of us. This is impossible, Jessica said. Kilgrave never leaves any excuses for himself. Then let's change our strategy, Aaron said, rubbing his eyebrows solemnly. Think of it like bringing cheat sheets to an exam. If you get caught, you're cheating. If you don't get caught, it's your strength. It would be murder, but no one else could know we were the ones who killed him. If necessary, find a scapegoat, a gang leader, a human trafficker, or a drug dealer. The most important thing in this city is these scoundrels who deserve to die. What you said is not unreasonable, but, Luke asked in astonishment, why are you so skilled at this? It doesn't feel like it's the first time you've done this, Trish said sarcastically. Hey! Aaron rolled his eyes at the three of them angrily. Stop your suspicious eyes. It will insult my noble personality. We don't do this kind of thing, and we don't have time to look for scapegoats, Jessica said. Then be careful and don't let others know that we are murderers. The three of them looked at each other and nodded in agreement. We have to find Kilgrave first, and we need a plan, Trish said. I know, Jessica said helplessly, but he is very well hidden and not easy to find at all. Actually, there is no need to look for him. At least 2 of the 4 of us are his targets. After his ability is strengthened, he will take the initiative to come to us. No, he should take the initiative to invite us over. What do you mean? Jessica asked, confused. You are also his target. Aaron looked at Jessica meaningfully and raised his fingers unconsciously, preparing to use the transformation technique. But the next moment, he came to his senses and realized he couldn't use magic in front of outsiders. Wait a minute. Aaron stood up, spread a layer of paper on the table, picked up a pen, and wrote his name on it. Aaron Gaius, I am a threat to him. A threat that must be eradicated. But what does this have to do with me? I rescued Hope at a hotel a few months ago. When interrogating Kilgrave, I asked him if I was the only one not under his control, Aaron said eloquently. His expression at that time told me that I was not the only one. There was another person who was not under his control before this. Wait, Jessica forced a stiff smile. You said that person couldn't be me. This is ridiculous. I was controlled by, why him for? For more than 8 months, if he hadn't had a car accident, I would still be in hell. He said that person is still alive and living a pretty good life, Aaron joked. Anyone who is not under his control is a threat to him. There are only 2 possibilities for this person to live. Either Kilgrave is unable to kill him, or Kilgrave is reluctant to kill him. Jessica, you are an ordinary person, and he has the ability to kill you. No, Jessica is not an ordinary person, Trish interjected. She is very strong and can stop a car with her bare hands. She also has an incredible jumping ability and can easily leap more than 10 meters high. Another superhero. Aaron shook his head tiredly. Jessica is indeed unique, but in the final analysis, she is still flesh and blood. It would be easy to kill her with a bullet or a knife. So it's not that Kilgrave didn't have the ability to kill her, but that he was reluctant to kill her. Why do you say that? Luke frowned. Is there any evidence? You need evidence, right? Aaron smiled slightly, wrote Jessica Jones on a piece of paper, and then added the word hostage after her name. Jessica, you just said you found Kilgrave, right? Is there a problem? Jessica asked. Of course. Aaron tapped the word hostage on the paper with his pen and said meaningfully, he was able to control so many hostages at that time, so why didn't he control you directly? If I were him, I would definitely not miss that opportunity. Jessica paused, her expression puzzled. Who knows what he was thinking? Maybe it was a whim. He is a lunatic. He knows that I will not attack ordinary people. Using this method to force me to retreat may satisfy his perverted psychology. Okay, let's just say he's full of whims, Aaron laughed, then added the word jealousy after hostage. Is this a mistake? Trish asked doubtfully. What does the word jealousy have to do with Jessica or Kilgrave? Luke Cage, Aaron pointed to him and said, Kilgrave is jealous of Luke Cage and his relationship with Jessica. This is even more ridiculous. Jessica couldn't stand it anymore. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. You're deceiving yourself. Aaron rolled his eyes at her. If it wasn't jealousy, why would he choose that way of death for Luke? When you arrived, he would detonate the bomb in the bar. Wouldn't it mean that you would watch your lover die in front of you? For a scumbag like Kilgrave, if he likes a woman, he will try every means to get her. But instead of using his power on Jessica, he chose a revengeful act. Chapter 7-6. The benefits of having an organization and skilled money collection actions. After watching Jessica and the others leave, Aaron casually picked up his phone and found Coulson's number in his address book. Hey, Coulson? Aaron? Coulson asked excitedly. Have this month's orders been completed ahead of schedule? What are you dreaming about? Aaron rolled his eyes in exasperation. Pharmaceutical production takes time, and S.H.I.E.L.D. has a lot of orders. I'm almost out of samples in the store. Who made your medicine so effective? Coulson said with a hint of relief in his voice. If agents in the field get injured, even losing limbs, your bone slinger can regenerate bones, essentially saving their careers. Many agents also suffer psychological trauma during missions. Tranquilizers, palliatives, and euphorics are very helpful to them. Continuous use can help them overcome their psychological shadows. As soon as these 3 drugs are delivered, SHIELD psychiatrists rush to grab them, and even the scientific research department can't get enough. Thanks to these drugs, 10% of agents with psychological problems have been cured and returned to frontline positions from civilian jobs. The most remarkable is the all-purpose potion, which enhances vitality, removes toxins, and heals wounds. The success rate of field missions has increased by 20%, and the casualty rate has decreased by 10%. The importance of these drugs to SHIELD is self-evident, but they are a bit expensive. I am very conscientious in not raising prices. Compared with surgery and hospitalization, my medicines are much more cost-effective. Besides, the raw materials for those medicines are very expensive, plus labor costs. I also have to eat. The R&D department has tested it many times. Most of the raw materials for these drugs can be purchased on the market, and they are not expensive. Only a few of them. The most expensive part is the very small part, Aaron said confidently. Coulson was choked and speechless. That very small part of the R&D department had never been able to figure out what Aaron meant. If you are short of money, you can sell the formula to SHIELD, Coulson suggested. One formula costs $100 million. Agent Coulson, do you think I'm stupid? Aaron scolded angrily. I understand the principle of rare things being more valuable, and I know how to choose between a full meal and a full meal. Don't think I'm easy to deceive because I'm young. $100 million? What about sending beggars away? If I sell it directly to Tony, he will pay 10 times or even 100 times that price. Coulson smiled sheepishly and said, as long as you are willing to sell, the price is negotiable. Forget it, Aaron joked. I'm afraid if I sell the formula up front, SHIELD will have a department selling special medicines on the back end. Nick Fury would most likely sell these drugs to other government departments at 10 times the price to collect funds on the one hand and to curry favor on the other. You really know the director well, Coulson sneered. But your understanding is not comprehensive. It will be sold to other departments for sure, but the price will be relatively low. I estimate 3 to 5 times is about right. However, he will also sell drugs to politicians. Rich and powerful executives also lack these drugs. Their friendship is more important to SHIELD than money. No, it should be said that it is as important as money. Director Fury is actually quite dismissive of these people. I should really consider raising the price. What a shame, you already signed the contract, but you can work harder and complete more orders. That's a nice thought. I'm not a medicine seller. I think you should consider this suggestion carefully, Coulson said seriously. Because of the medicines you provided, the director has upgraded your authority to level 7. In less than half a year, you have become one of the most valuable assets to SHIELD. He was promoted to a higher level without participating in any field service, a rarity within the entire SHIELD organization. As long as he could ensure that orders were completed on time, he could even be promoted again within a year, which was quite unique. Shh, don't talk about how great an 8th level agent is. I don't care, he scoffed. Coulson felt a pang of hurt. I am an 8th level agent, and it really hurts my heart to hear that. I want to say that the director still values you very much. Ha ha, how funny. Agent Coulson, if I'm not mistaken, you are well regarded by the director. But the phrase, the capable work hard, is most vividly reflected in you. Others are getting promotions and salary increases, but what about you? You get promoted and work overtime? Hearing this, Coulson's mouth twitched slightly. He wanted to refute, but found himself speechless. If others didn't know why his hairline was higher than theirs, he certainly did. He was like a brick of SHIELD, moved wherever needed. Let's stop talking about this. Why did you call me? Coulson asked. I might kill someone in the next few days. What? Coulson interrupted hurriedly. Did you say kill? What kind of person? Ha ha, I thought you would stop me immediately. To be honest, You are calmer and more disciplined than anyone else, Coulson smiled. I believe you won't kill innocent people indiscriminately. If you're considering it, the person must be a real scumbag. He really is a scumbag, but S.H.I.E.L.D. generally doesn't care about this kind of thing. We have our own tasks. Whether that person is a scumbag or not should be decided by the police or the FBI. The trial is also the job of the court. There's no need for you to meddle in other people's business. I don't want to care, but the problem is that he is not an ordinary person. Now that you tell me, I'm interested. Can superpowers commit crimes? This man's name is Kilgrave, and his ability is to control the will of others at will. As long as he speaks, others must act according to his will, even if it means committing suicide without hesitation, Aaron said in a solemn tone. I wonder if S.H.I.E.L.D. has any file records of this person. It seems not, Coulson frowned. Don't be surprised. S.H.I.E.L.D. has the largest database in the world, but it doesn't mean that everything can be found. It's normal for some things to slip through the net. I'm not surprised, Aaron chuckled. Kilgrave is a madman, but he is very sane. He uses his ability to control others, which is nothing more than bullying men, dominating women, and enjoying life. There must be murders, but he deals with the aftermath. Compared to those conspicuous guys, he is much more low-key. Very cautious, Coulson commented. He is afraid that his abilities will be exposed, which means that his abilities must have huge limitations. As expected of an elite agent, Aaron smiled. The time, number of people, and distance controlled are all his weaknesses. Some special people can also be immune to his control ability. He knows who he can and can't mess with, which is why he has gotten away with it for so long. It seems like he messed with the wrong person this time, right? Coulson said, gloatingly. Controlling others sounds terrible, but as long as his weaknesses are known, Kilgrave won't be a problem. Chapter 707, Enhanced Control Abilities, solved with one shot, page 1. Audio check, 1212. Can the people behind you hear it? Kilgrave suddenly appeared on the surveillance screen, wearing a purple suit and holding a microphone arrogantly. Why is it this person again? The boss zoomed in on the surveillance screen, his face becoming particularly grim. What did he do? Aaron asked. He ruined the performance in the theater, the boss replied, both angry and scared. He just said a few words on stage and scared away hundreds of my audience members. What bad luck, Aaron said sincerely. This man is a perverted murderer. Then, what is he doing here? The boss asked, his voice trembling. It's better not to speculate on perverted ideas. In addition, you should leave here now. The next scene is not something ordinary people can handle, Jessica advised. Run quickly. The faster the better, she added. What are you doing standing still? Let's go quickly, Luke urged, pulling the boss up from his seat. The boss had no choice but to leave quickly. This kind of thing is rather believable. After all, the person in the surveillance video is really outrageous. You two keep your distance from him, Luke said worriedly. You should leave quickly. Jessica then slowly walked to the fence on the second floor and jumped down. Boom! Jessica landed firmly on the ground, and the height of several meters had no impact on her at all. Tsk! Aaron smacked his lips and walked down the stairs to the first floor like an ordinary person. It seems you have found the stage for my experiment? Kilgrave said, his voice dripping with arrogance. She found it. It has nothing to do with me, Aaron pointed at Jessica, then took out the snake-eating snake from his pocket with a smile. I would like to ask, are you here alone? Kilgrave's eyes twitched slightly. According to the normal procedure, shouldn't you first ask me to put my hands on my head and give up resistance? How can you play with guns as soon as you get started? Nonsense. I'm not a policeman. There's no need to follow police procedures, Aaron said, pointing the gun at Kilgrave. 1,000 magic points. It only takes one bullet to do it, and I'm still a little excited. Wait. Kilgrave hurriedly stopped him. I'm not here alone. That's okay. At least I didn't see any obstacles. Aaron was about to shoot when Jessica reached out to stop him. If possible, try to capture him alive, Jessica said. Put away your unrealistic ideas. For such a scumbag, surviving for even 1 second is an insult to life, Aaron retorted. Let me try. If it doesn't work, shoot again, Jessica insisted. Aaron was silent for a few seconds, then slowly put down the revolver in his hand. I don't support your decision, but I sympathize with your experience. But I remind you, you will definitely regret it. Jessica took a deep breath and walked towards Kilgrave step by step. Don't you have anything to say to me? Kilgrave asked. There's nothing to say. I'm just following the trail of pain, Jessica replied. The name of the band is good, but you have already entered the scope of my ability, Kilgrave smiled. Now the real test begins. Stop, Jessica Jones. Kilgrave's voice spread throughout the theater through the microphone, but it did not affect Jessica's steps. He could only watch her approach him step by step. What the hell? Kilgrave swore, then changed his tone. I want to tell you that I forgive you for everything you did. I will say this to you every day until you accept it. This sounds sincere, but coming out of your mouth makes people feel inexplicably disgusting, Aaron said with disgust. And isn't it too late to apologize at this time? No, Jessica's face twisted in anger. That's not what he said. It was Luke. I wrote this, Kilgrave said with a proud smile. Are you touched? If you wrote it and Luke said something like this again, that means... Aaron's expression became more intense. Luke has always been under your control, and you knew we were coming here. Bingo! Kilgrave snapped his fingers, then looked at Aaron playfully. Guess, how will I deal with you? Aaron raised his eyebrows slightly, sensing something amiss. In an instant, he raised his gun and pulled the trigger. Boom! The sound echoed, and 2 bullets clattered to the ground. Waltfa. Kilgrave's eyes widened in disbelief. He knew Aaron was a skilled marksman, but he never expected him to be able to shoot down a bullet in midair. Aaron quickly picked up the bullets from the ground and took a few swift steps forward, finding cover behind a wall. A black gun or a sniper rifle. They went to great lengths to deal with me. Kilgrave's face twitched. I didn't just arrange for a sniper. Aaron's gaze swept around, pausing in 4 different directions. 4 snipers. 3 of them have their guns trained on me. How did you know? Kilgrave asked, shocked. Intuition, Aaron replied with a mysterious smile. No matter how far away I am, I can sense when someone points a gun at me. However, these 3 guns pose no threat. Although I'm not as powerful as Jessica, we're in a theater, so finding a blind spot for shooting isn't a problem. What about the 4th sniper? Jessica asked. What do you think? Aaron looked at her with caring eyes. Shit! Jessica cursed angrily, realizing the 4th sniper must be protecting Kilgrave and might have his gun aimed at her head. Don't worry, Jessica, Kilgrave said, winking at her like a child. I'm not willing to kill you. Once I leave, they will naturally retreat. This distance is enough for me to punch you, Jessica gritted her teeth. How much damage do you think a gun can do to me? Not much, Kilgrave smiled. Of course, I know guns aren't much of a threat to you. All 4 guns were prepared for Aaron, but it seems the preparations were insufficient this time. As he finished speaking, a black arm struck Jessica's abdomen, knocking her away. Luke Cage stood in front of Kilgrave like a loyal bodyguard. He is the one prepared for you, Kilgrave said, picking up his phone. Mr. Cage has been following my instructions ever since his shabby little bar was blown up. The 12-hour control time I mentioned was actually 16 hours. Now it's 24 hours and 100 yards away. I knew it would be like this, Aaron said, rolling his eyes. Now it's time to pay for your naive ideas. Jessica struggled to her feet. Stop with the sarcasm. Where is the antidote? Chapter 708. Shoot Luke in the head. You are stronger than me. You can defeat him. I can't, Luke roared angrily, pulling his head out of the wall. He then punched Jessica, sending her flying several meters away. He quickly walked over to Jessica, who had not yet gotten up. His eyes showed a struggle, but his movements did not stop as he lifted his foot. Boom! A spiderweb-like crack appeared on the floor as Jessica rolled in time to avoid the fatal blow. She then grabbed Luke's right leg and pulled him back, causing him to stumble and fall to the ground. The 2 stood up almost simultaneously and immediately started fighting. Jessica's fighting skills were slightly better, and her fists and kicks faintly suppressed the copper-skinned and iron-boned Luke. However, one party had scruples, while the other had murderous intentions, leading to a stalemate. Do you need help? Aaron asked. No need. Go after Kilgrave, Jessica shouted while parrying Luke's fist. Quickly. We can't catch up, Aaron said, spreading his hands. Do you know how many people are on the street? After leaving this theater, it will be his home court. It's a shame, Jessica Jones, that you missed your best opportunity to kill him. Don't you have a gun? Jessica shouted, blocking Luke's punches with a wine cabinet. Aren't you a good shot? If possible, I would, Aaron said seriously. But my gun only has 6 bullets, and I killed 3 snipers 3 times. Luke blocked one for Kilgrave and— Stop talking, Jessica interrupted. How can I help? Aaron asked. Shoot him in the head, Aaron said lightly, making Jessica's heart tremble. What? Are you crazy? She exclaimed. I'm very rational. Kilgrave's order to him was to kill us, and he won't stop as long as he's conscious. Of course, you can choose to refuse. You two are evenly matched. Either you subdue him but suffer significant injuries, or he kills you, and then I will still shoot him. Does it have to start? Jessica asked, her voice shaking. My bullets can hurt him, but it's not that easy to kill him. If you want to make him unconscious, you can only shoot him in the head. Think of it like hitting an average person in the back of the head with a wine bottle, but a bit more serious. Are you sure? This is not something you can just try, Jessica said, her voice filled with doubt. Only the above 2 possibilities. If you don't believe me, you can wait and see, Aaron chuckled and shrugged. In fact, there was a 3rd possibility. He could knock Luke down himself. He had countless ways to get rid of Luke's iron skin, but this did not align with his personality. Playing with guns was the limit at this stage, and doing more would risk exposure. Shoot, Luke shouted. No, Jessica hurriedly stopped him. I can stop you. He can stay awake for 24 hours, but you can't afford any mistakes, Aaron reminded kindly. Or you can choose to believe in miracles. Shut up, Jessica snapped. Shoot, quickly. Do you want me to beg you? Luke shouted again. As you wish, Aaron said, turning his gun around and pointing it at Luke's head. He pulled the trigger, and a bullet hit Luke between the eyebrows. An invisible impact force was released from the tip of the bullet, and Luke's body flew backward, knocking down a wall. As Aaron expected, Luke lost consciousness, and there was only slight redness and swelling on his head. Jessica immediately ran to Luke, dug him out of the bricks, and looked at his unconscious state, crying sadly. There's no time for you to cry. He's not dead yet. Take him to the hospital quickly, Aaron urged. Hospital? Yes, hospital. Jessica came to her senses and hugged Luke. Go to the nearest hospital. Luke was put on a stretcher, accompanied by 2 doctors, a man and a woman. What's the situation? One doctor asked. Head injury, associated with coma, possibly blunt force trauma, the other doctor replied. No feeling, no bruises or lacerations, the first doctor noted. I told you his head was injured, Jessica insisted. Jessica, you are not a doctor, Aaron said, exasperated. What? You should listen to the doctor in the hospital, the female doctor instructed. You all wait at the nurse's desk. We need to do a CT scan on him. Okay, doctor, no problem, Aaron replied. No, Jessica protested, wanting to follow, but the male doctor stopped her. You did a good thing. If he survives, I have to thank you. Jessica glared at Aaron, but followed him anyway. Aaron reluctantly took steps, secretly murmuring to himself, What's the use of following? Can you help the doctor? And with his skin. Shit, Luke Cage's invulnerable skin may be the biggest obstacle to his treatment. Cerebral edema is accompanied by mass effect. Prepare a cranial pressure catheter and inject 100 grams of mannitol, the male doctor instructed. He picked up a needle and prepared to insert it into Luke's arm, but the needle bent and did not penetrate his skin. Thinking there was something wrong with the needle, he hurriedly changed it, but it still didn't work. This made the older female doctor next to him very angry, almost thinking that this was an incompetent person. No need for you, she said dismissively. No, it must be him, otherwise it's the needle, the male doctor insisted. Ignoring him, the female doctor opened the curtains and shouted outside, Call me a nurse who knows what they're doing. It's over, Jessica murmured. The hospital can't save him, and it will still be a big trouble. Aaron smacked his lips. Take Luke to your house. I can provide him with emergency treatment. You? Don't be ridiculous, Jessica said suspiciously. If it hadn't been for the shot you fired, he wouldn't be lying here. So, are you blaming me? If you hadn't wanted to capture Kilgrave alive, things wouldn't have been so troublesome at all. And the tone of your words makes me unhappy. So, Aaron pointed to Luke Cage lying on the hospital bed. It would be better to let him be in a coma for a while. You? I'll do it, a nurse said as she entered, picking up a needle and pricking Luke's arm. But his skin did not change just because there was a different nurse. The nurse looked at the needle with a flash of surprise in her eyes. I can't wait any longer, the female doctor said, picking up the skull drill. The sizzling sound made everyone's scalp tingle. There's no need for this, Jessica said with difficulty. She could barely explain the needle, but she couldn't explain the skin that couldn't be broken by a drill. Don't disturb the doctor. Aaron rolled his eyes at her and watched the drill approaching Luke's head with great interest. Zizi. The skull drill rotated on Luke's forehead, and wisps of white smoke floated up, followed by bright sparks exploding. Chapter 709, Unique Insights into Surgery. Only do things that are beneficial to yourself. Jessica resisted the urge to confront Kilgrave at the hospital and followed Aaron back to her detective agency. As soon as they opened the door, they were greeted by an unexpected sight. Claire was straddling Luke, pinning his arms down. Jessica was stunned. This was her home, and Luke was her ex-boyfriend. But how could this be happening? Was Claire really that bold? Did we come back at the wrong time? Aaron quipped, his face twitching with a mix of shock and amusement. Although I'm still young, I don't know anything. A virgin. Shut up, Claire snapped. Hold his head down for me. Hey, this is too much, Aaron gasped, clearly taken aback. I don't know how you can say something like this, but I still have some ethics. Oh my God, Claire resisted the urge to slap him. Hold his head down for me. I'm going to extract his cerebrospinal fluid, otherwise he may never wake up. Jessica quickly reacted and ran to the bed to press Luke's head down. Sure enough, he was still unconscious, but his body was twitching. How do we extract it? His skin is invulnerable, Jessica asked, concerned. Of course, through the eyes, Aaron replied matter-of-factly. Take a long needle and pierce it from the eye to his skull. How do you know this? Claire asked, surprised. Because I originally planned to do this, Aaron explained, spreading his hands. It seems you had the same idea. But with all due respect, this kind of procedure is very difficult for nurses, and the process is not very friendly to women. If I do it, the success rate is 100%, but for you, the probability of success is less than 50%. Really? Jessica asked in astonishment. Can you really do it? Can a man say no? Aaron rolled his eyes. I performed an operation on a blind man some time ago. If it hadn't been for me, he wouldn't have survived the next day with his injuries. Hearing this, Claire's eyes widened. Did you treat him? Huh? It seems you know him, right? Aaron asked. Claire nodded. Then it's up to you. I'm not so sure. I told you before that I can help, but only if. Aaron began. I'm sorry, it's my fault, Jessica interrupted sincerely. I shouldn't have questioned your decision, and I shouldn't have blamed you. That's right. Knowing the current situation is a sign of wisdom. Aaron smiled with satisfaction, then picked up the long syringe that Claire had taken from the hospital. Ladies, please hold him down. He opened Luke's eyelids, revealing a disturbing mix of whites and bloodshot eyes that made both Jessica and Claire feel nauseous. Don't throw up. It doesn't matter if he dies, but my clothes cost $2,000, Aaron said, his movements steady. The needle inserted into the optic nerve and stopped just before the skull, without any error. The light yellow cerebrospinal fluid was slowly withdrawn, and Aaron threw the needle into the trash can. It's done. You can vomit if you want, he said. We're not that vulnerable yet, Jessica replied. Is he going to be okay? Within 24 hours, he will wake up with no lasting effects, Aaron assured her. I need a drink. Do you want one? Jessica offered. No need. The low-quality wine in your house is worse than boiled water, Aaron declined. What about you, Claire? Jessica asked. No need, Claire waved her hand, then looked at Aaron and asked, How did you do it? You must be under 20 years old. My teacher, Aaron said with a wry smile, somewhat nostalgically. The first lesson the teacher who taught me medicine gave me was to see the entire process of human anatomy up close. Jessica took a sip of whiskey and said, Maybe I heard wrongly. You said human anatomy? I was only 12 years old at that time, Aaron said with some resentment. Now that I think about it, it was outrageous. But thanks to this abnormal crash course, I understood every structure of the human body and developed my own unique insights into surgery. It's really amazing, Claire said, dazed. Who makes me a genius? Aaron laughed. Is Luke's phone on him? Jessica asked. Here, Claire said, taking out a mobile phone from Luke's pants pocket. That's the only thing. The caller ID doesn't matter, Jessica said, her voice tense. Kilgrave had controlled Luke and made him report my whereabouts. If I could trace the number Luke dialed, I might have a chance to find Kilgrave's hideout. Maybe he's no longer there, Aaron said pessimistically, but there must be clues. I have a friend who looks a lot like you and Luke, Claire interjected, glancing at Aaron. He understood that she was referring to the blind lawyer, Matt Murdoch. Is he also unconscious due to excessive blood loss? Aaron asked. Most of the time, yes, Claire replied, but he keeps the bad guys on edge. How can he be sure that he is righteous? Aaron questioned. He doesn't know, Claire admitted. He questions every move he makes, every thought he has. I don't think he questions his actions, Aaron said thoughtfully. People who like to meddle will always hesitate for a moment before acting, but they convince themselves quickly. They believe they should do it because it doesn't feel wrong to them. That's very philosophical, Claire noted. I think I can ask him for help. What do you think? It's better not to, Aaron advised. It's already troublesome enough with Kilgrave controlling Luke. If he controls another one, the situation will get out of control. Jessica nodded in agreement. We really can't take that risk. On the top floor of a building, Kilgrave stood facing a gray-haired old man, his tone full of complaints. I couldn't stop her, and it's all your fault, Dad. But you are stronger now than before, the old man replied. What if you give me more medicine? What if you give me all of it? What will happen? Kilgrave demanded. I don't know, the old man said hesitantly. Then make a reasonable inference, Kilgrave insisted. The chance of you becoming stronger is 40%, and the chance of dying is 60%, the old man admitted. Kilgrave paused, considering the odds. I know what I want. And you, Dad, what do you want? I want it to kill you, the old man said honestly. Kilgrave was not surprised. He just smiled mockingly and turned to the two assistants he had under his control. I am his biological son. Imagine that. The two assistants, compelled by his power, began to imagine and lowered their heads in horror. Chapter 710. As an ordinary person, I am not that easy to deal with. Jessica was stunned for a moment, then immediately walked over to the old man with a broken arm. The tragic sight of his body covered in blood left her at a loss for what to do. Albert suddenly raised his upper body, his eyes opening in pain to see a worried-looking Jessica Jones. Tell me, where has he gone? I don't know, Albert replied, using his last bit of strength. He is stronger. Don't listen to him or look at him. He will make you kill people. With those final words, he closed his eyes forever. Life is really fragile, isn't it? Aaron sighed, then picked up a photo from Albert's chest. Oh, I guessed wrong. He wanted us to find him. This photo is a clue. The pier on the Hudson River saves us some trouble. It shows that he is very confident, Jessica said. It also shows that he has laid a trap, Aaron added with a contemptuous smile. He felt a little bored after playing hide-and-seek with Kilgrave for so long. He had originally planned to use Captain Jack's compass to find someone, but he didn't expect Kilgrave to be so cunning. Perhaps this would make his death a quick one. At this moment, Trish also walked in, looking at the crime scene in shock. Isn't he here? It's obvious, but we know where he is, Aaron said, raising the photo in his hand. The pier on the Hudson River. I will show him with practical actions that there is a price to pay for being conceited. We need a plan, Jessica said. Kilgrave's abilities have been strengthened again. We can't hear his voice or look into his eyes. That's easy, headphones and an eye mask, Aaron said nonchalantly. But I don't need them. I still have to call Hogarth. Who? Jerry Hogarth, a lawyer. I need her to plead not guilty for Justin Burton, or he'll be charged with murder. Hearing this, Aaron laughed silently. You are such a good person. Don't tell me you still have the idea of capturing Kilgrave alive. If you still think so, then I can only do it alone. After all, my patience is limited, and to be honest, Kilgrave would have been dead if I had done it alone. I want to kill him more than you do, but Justin Burton is innocent. Can't he find a lawyer? Do you need to worry about it? But among the lawyers I know, Hogarth is the only one who knows what Kilgrave is capable of. Okay, Trish interjected, standing between the two of them. Isn't it just a phone call? I'll make it on the way to the dock. Aaron rolled his eyes at her, turned, and walked towards the door. Jessica and Trish exchanged glances and followed him immediately. When they arrived at the pier, the sky was already shrouded in darkness. Trish put on Jessica's clothes, a hood, and headphones. As for the eye mask, she didn't wear it. Not being able to see anything was not very friendly to an ordinary person. I don't suggest you do this, Aaron hesitated. There are many ways to attract attention, but throwing yourself into a trap is undoubtedly the most foolish. You are just an ordinary person. There is no need to take this risk. Aren't you an ordinary person? Trish asked. Of course I am, but I am an ordinary person who is not under his control, Aaron chuckled, then looked at the ticket station. I appreciate your courage, but it is very dangerous if you go like this. You can go with her, Jessica said seriously. Don't be ridiculous, Aaron waved his hand. If she was alone, Kilgrave might not kill her, but if I follow, she will be more likely to be implicated. No, he has become stronger. From what I know about him, he will test his abilities on you first. If you are controlled by him, he will slowly torture you. If you are not controlled by him, he will make up his mind to kill you. Ha ha! What you said makes me a little scared, Aaron said casually. So you want me to go with her as bait? This is such a good idea. Have you ever thought about what to do if I am controlled? As long as I can kill him, nothing will be a problem, Jessica said meaningfully. We acted together before. If it was just Trish alone. Kilgrave would suspect that you were secretly looking for an opportunity to kill him. 2 people can lower his vigilance, giving me a greater chance of getting close. Is this really something a superhero would say? Aaron's mouth twitched. Maybe I should have done it alone from the beginning. Only by doing this can we create opportunities, Trish said, looking at Aaron. You are his primary target. If we let him go this time, he will find ways to enhance his abilities and come after you. Jessica is the only one among us who isn't an ordinary person, so just trust her. Aaron rolled his eyes, feeling a mix of frustration and resignation. Being an ordinary person was both a shield and a constraint. He was a high-level magister, a sub-heavenly father-level powerhouse, yet he had to rely on others to deal with a third-rate villain. But this was the path he had chosen, and he had to see it through. Even if I'm not controlled by him, I still have to pretend to be, right? Aaron asked. Jessica nodded. I know you're reluctant, but I need your cooperation. Aaron took a deep breath. All right, let's discuss how I can prove that I'm not controlled by Kilgrave, that scumbag. We need a code word, Trish suggested. Sister, do you think Kilgrave would let me talk nonsense? Aaron retorted. Then change the action. I won't look directly into his eyes. You can signal by moving your fingers. This could work, Aaron agreed. Then it's settled. Be careful. I'll go up first, Jessica said. She then jumped up to the second-floor window and climbed in. Aaron and Trish exchanged glances and walked into the ticket office openly. Kilgrave emerged from a side door directly in front of them, smiling. Now comes our final battle, he said. Aren't you worried that I'll shoot you directly? Aaron asked playfully as he walked forward. Worried, but I don't think you'll have the chance to shoot, Kilgrave replied. As soon as he finished speaking, dozens of policemen with guns appeared from all directions, quickly surrounding Aaron and Trish. You're more of a threat than I thought. This is just in case my father's medicine doesn't work, Kilgrave said. I can tell, Aaron nodded nonchalantly. Okay, let's start with a little experiment, Kilgrave said, taking a deep breath. Aaron, put your gun on the ground. Chapter 711, No Chance of Entering Hell, Advance to Holy Magister. The injured passers-by's mobility was greatly reduced, but they still stubbornly carried out the order and crawled to block Aaron's footsteps. Tsk. Aaron smacked his lips. I'm sorry, truly sorry. I know this isn't your choice, but this is the most efficient way. Aaron smiled at the pale Kilgrave, stepping on the bodies of passers-by and getting closer to him, regardless of their age or gender. Gulp! Kilgrave swallowed hard, feeling the same fear of being dominated by Aaron as he had a few months ago. His body retreated involuntarily, and he kept shouting, Stop, hoping his ability could turn the tide at the critical moment. The closer Aaron got, the greater the possibility of being controlled. But as Aaron stepped over the last man's body, hope turned to despair. "We didn't arrange any shooters this time. Didn't we have time to prepare?" Aaron asked calmly. "I didn't have enough time. I thought the policemen arranged in the lobby could kill you," Kilgrave said nervously. "Even if they couldn't stop you, the people here could buy me time to board the yacht." "I'm sorry to disappoint you." Aaron picked up the biting snake on the ground. "You just said you were going to shoot me 30 times, right?" Kilgrave cried sadly. "Do you believe me if I say I was joking? What do you think?" Aaron put away the shugong and fiddled with the Snake Eater's magazine, revealing the 6 bullets inside. "I am a relatively kind person. Forget about 30 rounds. I'll only fire 6 shots. The last bullet will hit you between the eyebrows, but you can choose where on your body the first 5 rounds will hit." Perhaps because he was about to die, Kilgrave finally summoned up the courage to ask, "How is your heart?" "Not very good," Aaron said half-jokingly, then pointed the gun at Kilgrave's left shoulder. "You!" Boom, 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 boom. 5 consecutive gunshots were fired. Kilgrave's limbs were broken, and blood spurted out. "Ah!" A shrill wail sounded, overwhelming the voices of more than 40 people. They seemed to have forgotten their own pain and all looked at Kilgrave blankly, but everyone's eyes were full of gloating, without any sympathy. "Kill me," Kilgrave wailed, his face a mask of pain and despair. If it was just his limbs, he might still be able to hold on, as his desire to survive was still very strong. But the symbol of being a man was gone, and his energy and spirit were drained away in an instant. He suddenly felt that living was meaningless and that it would be better to die quickly. "There's no rush." Aaron sat next to him. "Your life has entered a countdown. While you're still alive, take a good look at the stars and listen to the sound of the river." "Kill me!" Kilgrave shouted, tears falling from the corners of his eyes. "I will kill you. No one can compete with me," Aaron said seriously. "Originally, I wanted to give you a quick death, but what you said in the hall before made me change my mind. But even so, I still have the slightest pity for you, and I will not use any cruel method to kill you. There are now 5 bleeding holes in your body. In addition to severe pain, you will feel difficulty breathing and dizziness. You will feel death approaching you little by little." "Isn't this cruel enough?" Kilgrave gritted his teeth. "You are a devil." "Don't get me wrong, the status of a demon cannot be compared to mine. Calling me a demon is an insult to the Gaius family." Kilgrave paused, as if he thought of something. His pupils trembled violently, and a layer of cold sweat broke out on his forehead. "You are not an ordinary person, are you?" "You must not be an ordinary person. No wonder you are not under my control." "Come on, of course, I'm an ordinary person," Aaron sneered. "I was just joking. Don't you think it's more lofty to describe it this way?" "No, I'm definitely not wrong." Kilgrave forced a smile. "I'm waiting for you in hell." "I'm afraid you won't be." Aaron couldn't wait any longer. He withdrew the magazine from his gun, took out a silver-white bullet from his pocket, and pressed it into the chamber. "I am an ordinary person," he said. "I just know more than most. This bullet has been specially tempered 7 times and is the pinnacle of my current life. Its power is the same as an ordinary bullet, but it contains the ability to damage the soul. If you are killed by this bullet, your soul will also be annihilated. Sorry, you have no chance of going to hell." Kilgrave stared at him, incredulous. "You still say you are an ordinary person? Actually, dying from blood loss is not cruel. What is cruel is knowing you are about to die. The bullet will hit you between the eyebrows just 1 second before you think you can escape. You will hear a crisp gunshot and feel a hole being torn in your skull. Fear, pain, regret, all kinds of emotions will flood your mind, but before you can react, you will leave this world forever, and your dirty, twisted soul will disappear completely." "Devil," Kilgrave muttered, his body trembling with fear and regret. "Why did I provoke him? Even death is so uneasy." At that moment, Jessica ran over. Kilgrave's eyes lit up when he saw her. The woman he loved and hated so much seemed like an angel at this moment. Jessica definitely wanted to kill him, but she would do it quickly and not let him suffer like this. "Jess." Kilgrave began to call her name, but suddenly felt a coolness on his forehead, followed by the crisp sound of a gunshot in his ears. "This is called cruelty," Aaron murmured, looking at Kilgrave's wide-open eyes. seeing hope in despair, only for that hope to be immediately shattered. It is fitting to die with one's eyes open. With Kilgrave's death, dozens of passersby at the dock returned to normal. Is this the end? Jessica asked blankly. Kilgrave, who she couldn't kill no matter what she tried, was now dead, just like in a dream. That's right, Aaron said, taking the phone from Trish. I won't show this evidence unless necessary. I shouldn't have been involved in this matter in the first place. Wait, what do you mean? Jessica asked, confused. It means don't bother me if you have nothing to do. I don't want to be famous in this way. One more thing, don't forget the money I deserve. With that, Aaron waved his hand and left the dock on his own. Gaius's Pepsi house. After returning home, Aaron took a deep breath, activated all the barriers in the house, and then opened the task panel with excitement. Kill Kilgrave. Completing the mission rewards 1,000 magic points. There is no penalty for mission failure. Completed. Chapter 7:12. The Progress of the Creation of the Spiritual World. I know that I can feel the changes in the spiritual world at any time, Aaron said seriously. I didn't stop you or even offer any opinions, which is a form of trust in itself. Moreover, I don't yet have the ability to create a real world. The design of the spiritual world can be modified at any time, as long as the environment I originally created is retained. So, speak up. Yes, Yak breathed a sigh of relief. My subordinates divided the land into 5 major continents: East, West, South, North, and Central. Each continent has mountains and rivers, forests and grasslands, glaciers, deserts, volcanoes, and seas of clouds. The Eastern continent has more forests, the Western continent has more glaciers, the Southern continent has more volcanoes, and the Northern continent has more deserts. But the differences are not very significant. The Central continent has the richest land resources and is most suitable for life. We built palaces and cities according to the characteristics of each continent. Of course, the sky and ocean were not neglected. If the master wishes to enjoy the scenery, Sky City can meet all requirements. Aaron nodded with satisfaction. Continue. Each continent is separated by endless oceans, and beyond that, there are countless islands. The climate throughout the year is not much different from the normal world. Simple, but clear enough. At least I can't find any faults, Aaron said, then shifted to a more comfortable sitting position. Now, let's talk about the shortcomings. It's unreal, Yak said bluntly. Land, sky, and ocean can be created illusorily based on the master's spiritual power. But the sun, moon, and starry sky, I've been creating them in the master's spiritual space for more than half a year, and they always feel a little false when you occasionally look up at the sky. This is indeed a problem, Aaron rubbed his eyebrows. I will find a way to solve this problem in the future. Are there any others? Just as Yak was about to speak, Aaron interrupted him. Ramon, tell me. The other issue is, the world is not that big, less than 1/10 of the Earth. It takes time to expand, and this time is determined by the master's power, or it can swallow the real world and merge into the spiritual world. Aaron thought thoughtfully. Maybe he could collect 10 shadow masks first and integrate the Shadow Kingdom into the spiritual space. Naga, what about you? Also, there is too little life, Naga said with a smile. It would be better if the master could take the time to use magic to create some life. It's not the time yet. Before I become a god, even if I create life, it will still be very fragile. Unless some special methods are used, the progress will be very slow. By the way, speaking of life, what happened to the little fireman I created before? He's fatter than before. No, a little bigger, but I feel like there's no change. This is normal. After all, its prototype is just an ordinary flame. Maybe I can improve its life essence in the future. Apart from these, are there any other questions? No more, Master, Yak said. Then continue at the current pace. Creating a world takes time, but even more so, patience, Aaron said earnestly. You may feel bored, but you won't be able to move around in the real world for a short period of time. The real world is more complicated than you think. This is the conclusion I drew from the warnings of the 2 previous ancestors. You must believe it. The 3 Yaks seemed to understand something, and they saluted respectfully to Aaron, then turned into flowing light and reintegrated into his body. The next day, Aaron signed in as usual and enjoyed breakfast with his 2 pets in a good mood. After all, he had been promoted to Holy Magister and had taken a big step forward on the road to becoming a god. It was time to reward himself with a good meal. The strength of Aaron's current body is categorized according to capture levels, and he estimates his level to be around 12. This means he can produce ingredients with a capture level below 12 in the gourmet product column. However, a higher capture level does not necessarily equate to more delicious food. In fact, as the level increases, the variety of food that can be refreshed also increases exponentially. Finding truly delicious ingredients among thousands of options remains a test of character. Over time, Aaron's obsession with food has waned. The food guide refreshes once a day, and if nothing delicious appears, he decisively moves on. Fortunately, the food in the guide can be purchased repeatedly. To this day, the Gala giant crocodile remains the favorite main dish for both his first and second pets. "Would you like to study a decent menu?" Aaron asked Abe and Fox, who were feasting. With appetizers, main courses, desserts, drinks, etc., the two pets looked at each other and nodded in agreement. A menu would signify an improvement in the level of food. At that moment, several uniformed police officers walked in. One of the female officers took out her ID and said, "Aaron Gaius, right? You brutally shot and killed a man at the Hudson River Pier last night. There were many witnesses, and the evidence is conclusive. You are under arrest." Aaron glanced at the name on the badge and replied humbly, "Officer Samantha, I think you might be ignoring part of the witness testimony." "Yes, I almost forgot if you hadn't mentioned it," Samantha said, taking out a silver bracelet and cuffing Aaron's hands. He showed no intention of resisting. "They said you shot very decisively, and everyone had penetrating wounds in their legs, even the elderly and children. They may have to stay in the hospital for several months. To be honest, there aren't many lawless criminals like you, especially since you didn't run away after committing the crime and had breakfast at home as if nothing happened. I've never seen such arrogance." "I was helping them," Aaron said seriously. "They were mind-controlled by Kilgrave. I had to incapacitate them first, otherwise the consequences would have been very serious." "Kilgrave again," Samantha said, exasperated, the sarcasm in her eyes evident. "Jessica Jones has hired a lawyer, but do you think anyone will believe this nonsense about mind control?" "Have you already found Jessica Jones?" "She's drinking tea with her lawyer in the interrogation room," Samantha replied, smiling at Aaron. "You'll see them soon. Take him away." "Wait," Aaron interrupted, pointing to the desk with his handcuffed hands. "Officer, my ID is in that drawer. Maybe we can talk." Samantha was momentarily stunned, but then walked to the desk and opened the first drawer. Upon seeing the ID of the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Agency, her pupils shrank, but she suppressed her surprise and compared the ID with Aaron's face. "You are with the agency. It's better not to let too many people know about it. Can you ask these officers to leave first?" "You guys go out first," Samantha instructed. After the other officers exited, she looked at Aaron hesitantly. "How do you prove that this ID is authentic? You're not even 20 years old, but this level, isn't it a bit high?" Chapter 713, Tony Stark's new assistant alleviates palladium poisoning. On the first day of the new year, a luxury sports car parked in front of the Pepsi House store. Tony Stark stepped out of the car, followed by a stunning woman in a uniform. However, she wasn't Pepper Potts. Aaron noticed the two entering, and after a moment of surprise, a smile appeared on his lips. "Is this your new companion? Miss Potts will be sad." "Natalie Northman, my new assistant," Tony said, pride evident on his face. "And let me tell you, I snatched her from Pepper, and she doesn't know it yet. How about it? Isn't she particularly beautiful?" Natalie gave Aaron a charming smile, but it felt professionally trained, much like the kindness on Coulson's face. "Wait a minute," Aaron thought. "This person seems to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and a core member." Aaron smiled and nodded, hiding his realization. Acting unaware was the normal behavior of ordinary people. "Didn't Miss Potts come with you?" Aaron asked. "No, I left her to run the company as CEO. She is more suited for it, but it will take some time to complete the handover," Tony replied. "And you, taking advantage of this period when she can't control you, doing whatever you want," Aaron teased. "Don't say that. She can't control me in the first place," Tony said, sitting down at a dining table as if he owned the place. "What do you have to eat today?" "It's a pity you came late. I didn't buy anything recently, and I've used up most of the high-quality ingredients," Aaron explained. "What else do you have?" Tony asked. "Rice bowls, takoyaki, beer, a set for $1,000. "One set, no, 2 sets," Tony ordered, then looked at Natalie. "You can sit down too. Make yourself at home. Although this place is small, the food here is as delicious as you can imagine." "Wait a minute," Aaron said, walking into the kitchen. He soon returned with 2 fried shrimp rice bowls, 2 plates of hot takoyaki, and 2 large glasses of beer. "Enjoy." Tony inhaled the aroma from the plate, which pried open his taste buds. Picking up a spoon, he took a bite of the rice bowl. He was momentarily stunned, feeling a warm current rush into his stomach. His spirit, which had been depressed due to palladium poisoning, also recovered significantly. "Awesome," Tony said, focusing on the food and chewing eagerly. During this period, he had been drinking chlorophyll juice daily to reduce the spread of toxins in his body, but the taste was unbearable, and he had lost his appetite. Natalie, on the other hand, maintained her composure. Although she was a little surprised by the deliciousness of the food, her professional training allowed her to keep a superficial reserve. A few minutes later, Tony finished his beer and burped happily. Natalie then picked up a piece of takoyaki and tasted it slowly. Do you want this beer?" Tony asked. "If you need it," Natalie began. "I need it," Tony interrupted, not being polite at all. He picked up the glass and took a sip. "It's really strange. This beer is quite ordinary, but it feels very fresh. If you're discerning, this is beer from Beer Falls. Of course it's fresh," Aaron said, raising his eyebrows. "You can buy a cubic meter of beer for just 1 delicious order, which is considered cheap." Tony didn't pay much attention, thinking Aaron was joking. "Now that we've eaten and drank, it's time to talk about business." "Divination?" Aaron asked playfully. "Am I that obvious?" Tony replied. "I only divine for the same person once a year, and if you come here on the first day of this year, it's not hard to guess," Aaron said meaningfully, then took out a crystal ball and placed it on the table. "Wait, don't worry about divination. Well, I haven't been feeling well lately. I remember you have a healthcare area here, right?" Tony asked. "Uncomfortable? How uncomfortable?" Aaron looked at Tony carefully and noticed a few lavender filaments under his neck. "Are you poisoned?" Tony glanced at Aaron in surprise. Aaron suddenly thought of something and turned to look at Natalie, but hesitated to speak. "We can't let Pepper know about this, if she leaks it." "I promise I won't tell anyone," Natalie said wisely. Aaron secretly complained that Nick Fury had arranged for a senior agent to join Stark Industries, not to serve as an assistant. "There are some toxins in my body that I can't deal with," Tony said ambiguously. "I just want to find something that will work quickly." "Then you found the right person," Aaron replied, making an inviting gesture and leading them to the treatment area. "We didn't have these when I came here last time, right?" Tony asked, eyeing a large piranha in the corner and taking 2 nervous steps back. "It took a lot of effort to get it," Aaron explained. "Its name is Nurse Mascot Grass. It can swallow pain and toxins. I can't guarantee it will restore your health 100%, but it can significantly reduce the toxin levels in your body." Tony pondered for a few seconds. "What should I do?" "Lie in its mouth for a while." "What?" Tony exclaimed. "That sounds a little awkward. You mean like lying in a healing fluid?" "Ha ha!" Tony laughed awkwardly. "What if it digests me? It's not that I don't believe you. It's just, has anyone else used this treatment method?" "Yes," Aaron replied simply. "A few months ago, I saved a comatose vigilante. He was seriously injured. I stopped his bleeding, sutured the wound, wrapped him in bandages, and threw him in there. The next day, he could barely walk upright. With his clothes on, no one could tell he had been in a coma due to excessive blood loss the night before." Hearing this, Tony took a deep breath. He had no solution for the palladium poisoning. As long as he used the arc reactor to sustain his life, the palladium levels in his blood would continue to rise, spreading the toxin faster. Chlorophyll juice could alleviate the poisoning to some extent, but it only treated the symptoms, not the root cause. "Okay, I believe you," Tony said, taking off his jacket, trousers, and shoes and handing them to his assistant, Natalie. "I'm just going to wear a tight suit and go in, okay?" "No problem." Then how do I get in? Aaron chuckled, walked up to Tony, and lifted his collar. Wait a minute, you're not going to throw me in. Smart, Aaron said, his arm strong as he threw Tony towards the nurse mascot grass. As Tony screamed and approached it, the nurse mascot grass opened its mouth and swallowed him. With a gulping sound, the scream disappeared. Chapter 7:14, Treatment of Special Talents, Cleverly Eliminating Correct Answers, page 12. The crystal ball was placed on the table, and Aaron stared at it closely. Through the layers of fog, he saw a glimpse of Tony Stark's future. A whip with flashing electric lights struck a racing car, and Tony Stark, as the racing driver, flew out with the car. How was it? Did I find what I was looking for? Tony asked, his voice tinged with curiosity. Well, found it, Aaron replied, a hint of satisfaction in his tone. Great, I know how it is impossible to defeat Tony Stark with just a new element, Tony mused aloud. It was just found with my help, Aaron said, trying to sound serious. After all, if he wanted to complete the task, he had to help Tony find new elements. You? You mean I will ask you for help? Tony's eyebrows raised in surprise. I'm somewhat confident in finding things, Aaron said, a bit embarrassed. Who let Captain Jack's compass be in his hand? He also wanted to keep a low profile, but his abilities didn't allow it. But why did I find you? Tony questioned, still puzzled. I also want to know. Maybe your bid is higher, Aaron suggested with a sly smile. Oh, Tony understood instantly. How much do you want? 100 million, Aaron stated plainly. You're really rude. Tony rolled his eyes. Deal. You have to help me find new elements. Cash on delivery is no problem. No problem, but you have to give me the money for divination, medicine, and food first, Aaron negotiated. 2 million. I'll ask Jarvis to put it on your card, Tony agreed. I may need your help with something, but I can pay you a handsome reward, Aaron added, his tone serious. It's really strange. Tony suddenly became interested. Tell me about it. Aaron glanced at Natalie without drawing attention, then took out a box from the drawer. He opened it, revealing a small piece of dazzling crystal. What is this? Natalie asked curiously. Asban iron. It's 400 times harder than diamond, Aaron explained. What did you say? Tony couldn't contain his excitement. Is there such a thing on Earth? It's a meteor from the sky, Aaron said without hesitation. It was collected by my teacher and weighs only 1 kilogram. So what do you want me to do for you? Tony asked, intrigued. Add some materials and help me make it into a knuckle duster. The world is becoming increasingly unstable, and it may not be convenient to use guns in close combat in the future, Aaron said bluntly. This was said in front of Natalie Northman, just to let S.H.I.E.L.D. know the legitimacy of his weapons. He handed it over to Tony Stark because he had enough resources to smelt Asban iron. It is true that it is much easier to smelt Asban iron with magic, but when someone asks, it is difficult to explain where an ordinary person can get the equipment and resources to smelt a substance hundreds of times harder than diamond. You can't just attribute everything to Gandalf Dumbledore. It would strain the credibility of this fictional character. Leave it to me. Tony stared blankly at the small piece of crystal in the box, which was 400 times harder than diamond. He would be lying if he said he wasn't interested. What about Mr. Stark's reward? Aaron inquired. He will know when the time comes, Tony replied, a hint of mystery in his voice. Mysterious, Aaron remarked, raising an eyebrow. By the way, I heard Coulson said you joined S.H.I.E.L.D., right? If you are being forced, you can tell me, and I can help you escape. After all, I still have some friendship with the founder of S.H.I.E.L.D. We won't use this for the time being, Aaron chuckled. I'm just a consultant at S.H.I.E.L.D., not a formal agent. That, in addition to enjoying certain permissions, there is also a fixed monthly salary, and S.H.I.E.L.D. can help support you when you are in trouble. Tony rubbed his brows. Did I hear you wrong? You only get paid and don't work. If you get into trouble, there will be someone to help you out. I've met Nick Fury a few times, but he doesn't seem so kind. Of course he didn't. A thick-faced and black-hearted person is the most accurate portrayal of Nick Fury. Natalie complained in her heart that Aaron's welfare package was the only one in S.H.I.E.L.D., and only a few people knew about it. She was really envious, but she really couldn't find anything wrong with him. She had also used 3 kinds of medicine, tranquilizer, palliative, and elation medicine, and the effect was not generally S-Shield was unable to replicate similar drugs, so Aaron, the only pharmacist, had no choice but to win them over. If someone quits, S-Shield will have to bear a certain loss. After all, it is easy to go from frugality to luxury, but it is difficult to go from luxury to frugality. If the supply of these medicines is suddenly cut off, it will probably dampen the enthusiasm of the agents. Special treatment for special talents, Aaron said with a proud smile. You can take the initiative to enter the game when you cannot avoid it. This is the wisdom of Ancestor Gaius. I am not Tony Stark. I don't have a significant influence in the political, business, and military circles. I am just an ordinary person with some abilities. My public status is also a kind of protection for me, and I'm just a consultant. It's not that difficult to leave S-Shield, it just requires a suitable time. Tsk. Tony smacked his lips. It sounds like you didn't suffer at all. Humph. I sell potions worth millions to S-Shield every month. If it weren't for their order, you could take away 10 more bottles of almighty potion today. Do you understand? They can't do without me until they figure out the formula for the potion, and I have more than just a few potion formulas. Tony Stark. After the two left, Aaron called Potts. Hello, Miss Potts? Mr. Stark is here. He went to your place? Pepper was a little surprised. What did he go to do? Eat, divination, and detoxify. While the arc reactor on his chest is keeping him alive, it will also release palladium that harms his body. But for the time being, you can rest assured that my medicine can suppress the toxins in his blood and buy him more time to find new elements. And I would help him, and the divination results were good, and he succeeded in the end. That's good. Pepper breathed a sigh of relief. What can I do? Keep it secret. I think he definitely doesn't want you to know his physical condition. In addition, be mentally prepared. He may be stable for the time being, but the longer he is delayed, the more he will think about letting himself go, and he may do anything outrageous. Pepper was silent for more than 10 seconds. I know what to do. One more thing. If Mr. Stark is going to participate in any racing-related activities, remember to inform me and book a ticket for me. S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury answered Natalie's call. Is there any progress on Stark's side? Palladium poisoning, Natalie said succinctly. The arc reactor is sustaining his life and taking away his health at the same time. Is that so? Nick Fury thought for a moment. Notify me when he can no longer hold on and send him the omnipotent potion. Chapter 715, Expensive Rainbow Fruit, a special guest, Gaius Pepsi House. Aaron fiddled with the moonstone bracelet on his right hand, his face beaming with joy. A defensive magic weapon that could resist a forbidden spell and ward off multiple harmful curses was finally ready. Although it had taken him several months and a lot of extraordinary materials, it was all worth it. Overjoyed, Aaron refreshed the food product section, planning to treat himself to something special. Gourmet category, at Scare Apple, 1 delicious point. At Rainbow Fruit, 300 delicious points. Tiger Striped Walrus, 50 delicious points. Cowpig Bird, 15 delicious points. At Snack Lettuce, 1 delicious point. Aaron's eyes locked onto a fruit with a colorful halo in the product column, and he swallowed involuntarily. The rainbow fruit was about 1 meter long and weighed 2 tons. It was a highly sweet fruit that combined a variety of sweet flavors. It's a bit expensive, but it's worth the price. As long as the amount is sufficient, my physical strength can be greatly improved in a short period of time. Buy rainbow fruit. 300 delicious points were deducted, and a huge fruit fell onto the kitchen floor. Suck! Feeling the extreme sweetness in the air, Aaron's Adam's apple bobbed. 2 figures, 1 white and 1 red, flew over quickly, their eyes fixed eagerly on the rainbow fruit, drooling all over the floor. Master, is this today's dessert? Abe couldn't help but ask. I'm so happy. You think too much. This fruit is very expensive, very expensive. I can trade my tears. Fox flapped his wings and chirped eagerly. Aaron sighed. These two were always more active when it came to food. This fruit is our dessert for the next week. It is too sweet for ordinary people to eat directly, but I am not an ordinary person, and neither of you are human. Cutting curse. Aaron stretched out his hand and clicked on the rainbow fruit. The 1 meter long fruit was divided into 3 parts of different sizes, and the splashing juice floated in midair, collected in a glass jar. Abe wisely hugged the larger piece of pulp, and Fox took the smallest piece, leaving the largest piece for Aaron. This is how family status is reflected. Oh, maybe I should put a traceless stretching spell on your jobs. Abe and Fox looked at each other and nodded in unison. Ha ha! If I really do that, you will probably put all the edible things in our house. Aaron rolled his eyes. Uncle, your paws. Cats and parrots are holding me even more tightly than myself. The pulp was several times bigger. It would be a big deal if other people saw it. I don't want to delete other people's memories casually. Abe and Fox reluctantly let go of the fruits in their arms and watched them fly to the refrigerator. Aaron glared at them angrily, and before the pulp was completely sent to the refrigerator, he cut 3 small pieces according to family status and put them on their own plates. We can taste it first tonight. I hope this sweetness can give us a good dream. Long live my master. Abe raised his claws, and then the sharp claw blades pierced into the fruit, and he started to chew the fruit while holding it. Fox was not idle either, using his claws to tear the pulp apart to make it easier to eat. Aaron looked at their happy expressions, intoxicated with the sweetness, and felt a little bit envious in his heart. It's better to pamper someone. Why are you living such a miserable life? Aaron shook his head, picked up the knife and fork, cut a small piece of pulp, and put it into his mouth. The next moment, his eyes widened, and he understood why Abe and Fox were so intoxicated. The taste kept changing like firecrackers. A series of fruits such as mango, lemon, bayberry, kiwi, watermelon, etc. bloomed almost at the same time, and the sweetness flowed throughout his body instantly. It's so happy! Aaron slowly finished the remaining pulp, feeling that his physical condition had improved to a new level. However, the improvement was not much. After all, the air was no food demon in his body. Even the most delicious food could only upgrade him, not evolve. After eating, Aaron was about to ask. When Aaron saw his 2 pets licking a plate so clean it could be used as a mirror, he couldn't help but sigh. Do I even need to ask? Master, this doesn't seem like enough food, one of the pets complained. Shut up! Your meal is enough to feed an ordinary person for 3 days. What more do you want? And this is dessert after a meal. You can't eat it as a main course. Aaron scolded angrily. Look at Fox. It knows better than you in this regard. That's because it has a small appetite, the pet retorted. It has less food than you. Aaron knocked gently on its head, suddenly feeling that life would be much easier without raising them. But as soon as the thought crossed his mind, he dismissed it. Without them, he would be alone. Although Moans and the others could also be summoned, there was an unbridgeable gap between a master and his servants. Not to mention, he, the master, could decide their fate at any time. Alas! Aaron sighed deeply, and then turned his attention to a glass jar filled with colored juice. This was ultra-high concentration juice that needed to be diluted before it could be sold as a drink. He cast a traceless stretching spell on the glass jar, expanding its capacity thousands of times, and then carved an ice-blue magic circle to summon enough water to pour into it. The next day, Aaron woke up on time to sign in for his daily 2 magic points. After washing up and changing his clothes, he went down to the first floor and poured himself a glass of rainbow juice in the kitchen. The juice had a multi-layered taste. Although it wasn't as good as eating the fruit pulp directly, it could still beat most drinks on the market instantly. As for the price, he thought $500 was too much. $300 would be better. After all, it had been diluted many times, and $300 a cup was enough to recover the cost. After a simple breakfast, Aaron picked up a pen and paper and started practicing fusion magic. Since being promoted to Holy Magister, he could create a single forbidden magic spell much more smoothly than before, but integrating forbidden magic was much more difficult than he had anticipated. He could only rely on practice to make perfect. 2 hours later, Aaron cleared all the magic circles on his laptop and turned on the TV to watch the news. The title Stark Industry Expo caught his attention immediately. The TV screen showed Iron Man falling from the sky and taking center stage. A bunch of robotic arms appeared and disarmed him, revealing Tony Stark in a suit. In front of thousands of spectators, Tony used a tactful tone and narcissistically praised himself as a key factor in world peace. He solemnly introduced the Stark Industry Expo to everyone, even showing a video of his father from 20 years ago. "Good guy! What a good guy!" Aaron muttered, shaking his head in amusement. Chapter 716, Wilson's Decision, Seriously Injured. Matt, Murdoch, Wilson, and Wesley returned to the car and left Pepsi House with their packed lunches. "What he divined may not be true," Wesley said solemnly. "Maybe he just happened to see you and Mrs. Gao talking in the park, so he pretended to be a ghost. But it doesn't have to be fake, right?" Wilson countered. Wesley was about to say something else when his cell phone suddenly rang. He answered it, and a gloomy voice speaking Chinese came through the line. "Okay, I get it," Wesley said after a few seconds. He looked at Wilson with an inexplicable expression. "Mrs. Gao wants to talk to you." "Where?" "Your residence. She is on her way there." Wilson took a deep breath. "Now I know why Stark came to Gaius. The people who informed us are not allowed to disturb Gaius Pepsi House, let alone provoke the owner. If anyone disobeys, just kill him." "Is it necessary to take a fortune teller so seriously?" Wesley asked, puzzled. "The world is changing, Wesley. The devil of Hell's Kitchen, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Hulk, Tony Stark, and so on. The world is moving in a direction unimaginable for ordinary people. I have a hunch that there will be more and more extraordinary people like this in the future. Unless we also have power that can match them, it is better not to mess with these extraordinary people. Dag, they are not as easy to deal with as ordinary troubles. If possible, I would like to cooperate with Gaius." Wilson laughed, then changed the subject. "But this seems impossible." "Why? We can give him whatever he needs." "No, we can't give him what he needs. Aaron Gaius may seem easygoing, but he is actually very cautious. He didn't know who I was, but I had a feeling he knew who I was. His attitude towards me from the beginning to the end, there was no fear, no disdain, no disgust, no awe, just plainness and the most basic courtesy. Such a person must not be underestimated. He treats me as an ordinary stranger, and accordingly, we should treat him like a stranger. He will not be our enemy, but he will not be our friend either, as long as we do not take the initiative to provoke him. Enemies with powerful power are not scary, but people who can know the future to a certain extent are scary." "Understood," Wesley nodded seriously. "We can't control other people, but I guarantee that our people will not disturb him." Gaius Pepsi House Pharmacy. Aaron drew dense spells, and a golden bullet floated in front of him, absorbing the magic power of the runes bit by bit. Gee, Zizzy. As the talisman continued to blend in, golden aura flowed from the surface of the bullet, but along with the aura, there were extremely fine cracks. Aaron held the bullet in his hand and couldn't help but feel a bit of toothache when he looked at the tiny cracks on the surface. The solution using the unicorn horn was only a semi-finished product, sandwiched between 7 enchantments and enchantments, but it can be considered an improvement. At this time, Abe's voice came to his ears. "Master, someone is coming." "Huh?" Aaron put away the bullet and walked out of the pharmaceutical room. But as soon as he came out, he saw a scene that left him speechless. Matt Murdoch, who covered half of his face, walked in shakily. He was covered in blood, with sharp knife wounds almost everywhere on his body, and the night clothes on his body were also wet. "What's the reason this time?" Aaron suppressed his anger and asked, "It's almost 11 o'clock in the evening. You come here like this. You are not afraid of nightmares, but I am." "Please," Matt was furious. "I don't want to disturb you, but I swam out of the river, and it's the closest to you." "Shut up!" Aaron rolled his eyes and said coldly, "I made an exception last time, but I definitely won't do it this time. My compassion is also limited, so don't expect me to save you." "I know," Matt nodded reluctantly. "I just want to use your place to rest for a while. It's safer because no one is searching here." Aaron raised an eyebrow, considering Matt's request. Aaron raised his brows slightly, recalling the 2 guests who had come for dinner a few days ago. However, he chose to remain silent. "Can I make a call?" Matt asked. "What if I say no?" Aaron retorted. Matt was silent for a few seconds before pulling out a few soaked bills from his blood-stained clothes. "I only have this much, but it should be enough for 1 phone call." Aaron sighed. 6, you are such a special 6. Who do you need to call?" Aaron inquired. "Claire, you should know her," Matt replied. Aaron couldn't help but laugh. You are really calm and rational, thinking of calling the doctor directly. Can you give me the phone number? I'm more seriously injured than last time and need her help, Matt explained. Aaron made a dismissive sound and reluctantly handed him the phone. Fine, but remember to clean up after she comes, and I'll be sleeping on the second floor tonight. I don't want the shop to be stolen. Do you understand? After saying that, he picked up Abe and walked towards the bedroom on the second floor. The next day, Aaron woke up early, signed in, and carried Abe to the first floor. As soon as he got up, his face darkened. Holy crap! Wasn't I clear enough last night? Why are you still here? And why didn't she leave? Aaron exclaimed. Matt was originally going to leave, but I persuaded him to stay, Claire said sheepishly. He's in a very bad state now, so it's better if he doesn't move. What does that have to do with me? Aaron said angrily. If he really wanted to leave, do you think you could persuade him? Can't you have some sympathy? Claire frowned. Are you talking about compassion with me? Aaron seemed to have heard a funny joke. There's an ancestral motto in our family. Don't be a good guy unless you're prepared to face trouble. And him, Aaron pointed to Matt Murdock lying on the sofa. He is trouble in my eyes. You should know better than me. Can you honestly say you haven't been implicated by him? Claire opened her mouth, but was speechless. She had indeed been involved, even moving house once and being arrested and tortured by a few criminal policemen. But she disagreed with Aaron's actions because Matt was a hero who secretly guarded the city every night. Thanks to him, ordinary people like them could feel some sense of security. Providing him with help within their capabilities was a form of repayment. Chapter 717, Going on the Field to Participate in the Game. Money has been a bit tight lately. Time passes day by day. While developing new potion formulas, Aaron improved his alchemy skills and accumulated valuable experience for 8 enchantments. One day in April, he received a call from Pepper. Monaco? Racing? Are you sure he went to watch the game and not to play? Aaron asked. You mean he will play? Pepper asked in shock. No, I'm not sure, Aaron replied ambiguously. The vision he had seen showed Tony Stark's car being split in half by a whip on the racing track. But he couldn't tell Pepper this, as she might try to stop Tony. The divination suggested it was better to let events unfold naturally, or something worse might happen. How is his research on the new elements going? Aaron inquired. There seems to be no progress. You've been providing him with potions for the past few months, but they're being consumed faster and faster. He started drinking that. Chlorophyll juice again, Pepper explained. Okay. Aaron held his forehead and shook his head. Mr. Stark's pride makes him want to handle the problem alone. It's understandable. He vowed that he would find new elements given enough time and wouldn't ask for help until he couldn't hold on any longer. This is called saving face and suffering, Aaron thought. His psychological resilience is slightly lacking. Can you help him as soon as possible? Pepper begged. Don't worry, I will help him, Aaron promised seriously. Finding the new element would not only cost him 1,000 magic points, but also earn him a reward of $100 million from Tony Stark. Although S.H.I.E.L.D. has an order worth millions every month, according to the exchange ratio of $10,000 per delicious point, he can only redeem a few hundred delicious points each month. As his physical fitness continues to improve, ordinary ingredients have little effect on him. But high-grade ingredients are not cheap. Just one rainbow fruit costs him a month's worth of potion sales, and he also has a dragon and a phoenix to feed at home, both with considerable appetites. Now he had less than 3 digits of delicious points left and urgently needed money to top up. Otherwise, he would have to use magic to drink poison to quench his thirst. Thinking of this, Aaron sighed heavily. Not enough magic points made him feel poor, and he didn't expect to worry about money after just 1 year. If nothing else goes wrong, he will have to spend more and more money in the future, and these days are getting really tough. Let's just use Captain Jack's compass this time. We have to get the $100 million as soon as possible, Aaron thought. Your invitations and tickets are ready. The time is 8 o'clock the day after tomorrow, Pepper informed him. Monaco. A luxury car parked in front of the Paris hotel. Tony Stark, wearing a suit and tie and sunglasses, got out of the car and waved to the cheering local residents around him. Pepper got out of the car, and Happy, the driver and bodyguard, walked into the hotel with the two of them, carrying a red suitcase full of mechanical equipment. "This is Europe. No matter what happens, we have to let nature take its course," Tony said to Pepper nervously. Some things were about to come to a showdown, and to prevent his little Pepper from losing face in public, he had to prepare her in advance. "Yes, let it be." Pepper smiled and nodded. She didn't want Tony to know that she had invited Aaron to solve the problem of Tony's palladium poisoning. Although her intention was good, she was afraid of hurting Tony's self-esteem. The two looked at each other and nodded in agreement. Mr. Stark, Natalie, wearing a red dress and looking very charming, approached and greeted them. "The journey went well?" "Very well. It's really nice to meet you," Tony replied. When Pepper met Natalie, she seemed to understand why Tony wanted her to let things take their own course. After hiding it under her nose for so long, it was finally exposed. Pepper took a glass of wine from a wool, eyed her. "When did you hire her?" she asked. "You forced me," Tony replied, trying to keep his tone calm and avoiding her eyes. "What did I force you to do?" Pepper questioned. At that moment, a photographer from the Monaco Racing Club approached them. "Smile, look here," he instructed. Tony and Pepper turned to the camera, but their smiles were strained and unnatural. "I've guessed it a long time ago," Pepper said with a smile, though she was cursing inwardly. She had failed to guard against it and let him succeed. "Don't put on a bad face and take pictures," the photographer chided. After the photo was taken, Tony looked at Pepper with concern. "You look a little tired. Do you need a massage? I can ask Natalie to arrange it." "I don't want Natalie to arrange anything," Pepper replied curtly. "Well, let's go to Aaron's place after we get back. His cactus is very effective in getting rid of fatigue." "I didn't mean to keep it from you," Tony said. Pepper smiled slightly. "I didn't mean to keep it from you." "What?" Tony asked, confused. Pepper raised her glass towards the bar. Tony followed her gaze and saw Aaron sitting there with a glass of colored juice in his hand. "Did you invite him here?" Tony asked, his expression uneasy. "That's right," Pepper confirmed, breathing a sigh of relief as she walked towards the bar. "Does she know?" Tony asked Aaron with a complicated look. "Tell me you didn't tell her." "I'm very sorry. I did tell her," Aaron replied with a meaningful smile. "I called her right after you and Natalie left my store, but I only told her about your physical condition. As for Natalie, I didn't mention a word." "How could you?" Tony said, resentment clear on his face. "I didn't want her to know about this. You should understand. It would be really irresponsible to hide such a thing from her," Aaron said. "Although I am young, I definitely met true love earlier than you, and I know better what concealing it means to her. You think it's for her own good, but she definitely doesn't think so." "Why didn't you tell me?" Pepper asked, looking directly into Tony's eyes. "Were you going to wait until you died before I knew that you really handed over the company to me?" "I just didn't want you to worry too much. It's useless for you to worry," Tony explained, though it sounded far-fetched. "And Aaron has done the divination. I can succeed in the end, so there was no need to tell you." "Since you can succeed, you should have told me, right? During this time, I have been pretending not to know anything, but whenever you need me, I rush there as soon as possible. I feel that I have done nothing wrong. I've been waiting for you to take the initiative, even though it's unlikely. But today, I saw Natalie as soon as I entered the door. Haha, I suddenly felt that what I did was a little redundant." Tony Stark was at a loss for words. "It's my fault. I shouldn't have hidden it from you. I apologize, and I will return Natalie to you later," Tony said. "No need. Just keep her for yourself," Pepper retorted. Chapter 718, Attack on the Field, A Little Bit of Effort, page 1. "He and I are different," Tony said confidently. His narcissism was based on strength, while Hammer purely relied on appearances. "Who is this?" Hammer looked at Aaron curiously. "He looks very young." "He is Aaron Gaius, my friend." "Yes, friend," Tony emphasized. "Don't think too much." Aaron smiled at Hammer. "I'm not familiar with him. I'm just a simple therapist. Rich people still attach great importance to physical health." Hammer nodded in understanding and didn't take Aaron seriously. "Tony, man, don't leave me," Hammer pleaded. Have I ever left you? We don't seem to be on the same track. Tony replied bluntly, with disdain almost written on his face. If he hadn't shut down the weapons production department of Stark Industries, where would it be Hammer Industries' turn to take over? But even after Stark withdrew from the arms market and Hammer took over the military's orders, he had not invented any distinctive weapons. The truth is, I want to display the product at your expo, Hammer said with a smile. If you invent something that works, I'll definitely keep the showroom for you. Mr. Stark, Natalie walked over. Ready. Did Happy notify him? Pepper asked anxiously. Notified. I'm waiting for your call at any time. That's good. What's going on? Hammer frowned in confusion. What happened? No, nothing happened. Peace of mind and prepare for your exclusive interview in Glory World. Tony smiled, turned around, and left the club. Racing track. Tony Stark changed into his racing suit and gathered at the starting point with the other racers. As the roar sounded, all the cars started and galloped forward along the track. Compared with Pepper, who was sitting in the audience with a worried face, Aaron was much more relaxed, holding popcorn and watching the speed competition below with great interest. Is Tony going to be okay? Pepper asked. Miss Potts, this is the 6th time you've asked. I can tell you again with absolute certainty that something will happen to him, but his life will not be in danger. You have made very detailed arrangements, and he also knows that someone is going to take his life on the field. If he can't avoid it, it will be bad luck to die, but he drank the elixir, and Lady Luck is on his side. But you also said that divination is not 100% accurate. What if? Just to avoid that eventuality, that's why I'm sitting here. Pepper was stunned for a moment, then breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you. No need to thank me. If he dies, my 100 million will be gone. Pepper, under the cheers of the surrounding audience, the game came to an end. But at this moment, something unexpected happened. A groundskeeper climbed over the fence onto the track, and with a crackle, his shirt was incinerated to ashes, revealing the exoskeleton armor that covered his upper body. Although the armor was simple, the energy core on his chest was particularly eye-catching. Obadiah had even recruited a group of professional engineers to research the arc reactor. No one would have thought that it would appear in the hands of an attacker on such an occasion. Whiplash swaggered onto the field, the 2 long whips in his hands flashing with electric light and sizzling, leaving 2 scorched black marks on the ground. Here it comes. It seems that my divination was not wrong. Aaron smiled lightly and threw a popcorn into his mouth. Oh my God! Pepper fidgeted nervously. You're not just going to sit here, are you? Do something. Aaron rolled his eyes and immediately opened his clothes, revealing the revolver at his waist. If Tony can't solve it, I will take action. This guy looks fierce, but in the final analysis, he is just an ordinary person relying on technology. He can't stop bullets. Something really happened. Natalie's pupils in the audience shrank. Fury. Keep him safe no matter what. Nick Fury's voice came from the earphones. He was watching the live broadcast on the TV channel. What about my identity? Wait a little longer, at least until we escort Tony out of there safely. Natalie nodded and immediately turned on her phone. Protect Tony Stark. Act quickly. If you're late, you may not have a chance to intervene. Snap. The flashing whip struck an oncoming red racing car. Like a hot knife through butter, 1/5 of the red car was cut diagonally. The driver and the remaining 4/5 of the car rolled several times in midair before crashing to the ground, leaving the driver's fate uncertain. Everyone's eyes widened, and screams of terror erupted from the audience. Those nearby fled, fearing the vicious man might turn and lash out at them next. Pepper swallowed hard, then picked up her phone in a panic. Happy, you have to deliver the box to Tony quickly. Understood, Happy replied, putting down his cell phone. He took a deep breath and drove over the guardrail onto the racing track. At this moment, Tony Stark's car approached. He saw the whipcord about to strike and immediately realized that Aaron's divination had come true. Without hesitation, he stepped on the accelerator and sped forward. Whoosh! The bullwhip sliced off the front part of the car. Tony and the remaining car body flipped 360 degrees and slid forward, finally coming to a stop after colliding with the wreckage of the red car. Tony! Pepper's face turned pale, and she unconsciously covered her mouth with her hands. He's okay, and backup is on the way, Aaron reassured her. Happy? Where are you? Pepper asked frantically. No, it's not Happy, Aaron said, looking at the arena with interest. He saw several agents in suits rushing down from the audience. He couldn't help but admire S.H.I.E.L.D.'s efficiency. However, he thought, these agents are making a mistake. They should appear behind Whiplash, not in front of him, giving him time to react. They should just shoot him in the back. Boom, boom, boom. The agents drew their guns and fired, but Whiplash showed no fear, a sneer playing on his lips. The two electric whips he wielded were so powerful that ordinary bullets couldn't penetrate the shadows they cast. Even if a bullet did get through, the crude exoskeleton armor on his upper body protected his vital parts, and the arc reactor supplied him with energy. Whiplash's pace quickened as he waved his whips, deflecting bullets. He turned and used his whip to pull off a section of steel wire mesh from the sidetrack, hurling it at the agents. They scattered, but one wasn't quick enough and was nailed through the arm by the steel mesh. Chapter 719, The Moral Bottom Line of Politicians. On Stark's private jet, Aaron gazed out the window, watching the white clouds drift by. His mood gradually became calmer. Did you find anything from the analysis? Tony asked impatiently. A little bit, but let's wait until Miss Pepper arrives. Is this necessary? Yes, I think it is very necessary. Pepper walked in. Tony, you can't hide everything from me. It will make me very tired. Okay, I can't hide it anymore. Mr. Gaius, this is what you asked for, Natalie said, pushing a whiteboard into the private room. Thank you, Aaron replied politely. But what I'm going to discuss is relatively confidential. Can you please step aside for a moment? Okay, no problem. Natalie turned and left without hesitation. Aren't you going to use this thing to teach me? Tony rolled his eyes angrily. I feel like I'm back in kindergarten. This is an insult to my IQ. Aaron was stunned for a moment and then silently gave Tony a thumbs up. This is my habit, but I really want to give you a thumbs up. Your words are equivalent to pointing at everyone in this private room and saying, everyone is trash. Of course, you and I are standing. Tony was taken aback for a moment, then turned to look at Pepper. I didn't mean that. I meant he could use higher-end equipment. Needless to say, Pepper smiled dryly. I understand that genius is great. Ahem. Aaron coughed. During the 5 minutes of visiting the prison, I analyzed some information. First of all, Vanko, the guy who attacked Tony Stark, has a father. Does this still require your analysis? Tony interjected. Aaron ignored the comment and continued. When he said, you didn't die because of my father, his eyes were fixed on the arc reactor on your chest. From this detail, it is certain that the arc reactor has a deep connection with Vanko's father. Aaron wrote the word thief on the whiteboard. He used this word to describe the Stark family, and the family certainly did not refer to Tony Stark alone. I speculate that his father, Anton Vanko, and Tony's father, Howard Stark, worked together. Tony's father allegedly stole the fruits of Anton's labor, which led to Stark's current glory. Of course, this is Vanko's unilateral opinion, and I don't know the specific truth. Ha! Tony sneered disdainfully. To be honest, I don't like my father very much, but his character is definitely trustworthy. Thief? I think Vanko is the real thief. Aaron shrugged and wrote the word butcher on the whiteboard. This word is interesting. It alludes to the Stark family's inhumane attack on the Vanko family, possibly even murder. If nothing else, Anton Vanko is already dead, and within the past 2 years, Vanko has blamed Howard Stark for this blood feud. The grievances of the previous generation continue to the present. Your father is dead, and he can only seek revenge from you. My dad would never hurt innocent people. Tony said firmly. A son is like a father, and vice versa. His father would never do that kind of thing. Maybe. It may be a one-sided view, but compare the living conditions of the Stark family and the Vanko family. How to say? He hates you not without reason. They are both people who control the arc reactor. One is a successful Iron Man, admired by thousands and with endless money, but the other seems to be living a miserable life, and his revenge equipment is so inferior. Envy and jealousy, Tony commented. Pure envy and jealousy. Because of this, he wants to kill me. He was sick and very sick. He really wants to kill you. Even if he can't kill you, he will destroy you, Aaron said meaningfully, then wrote 2 sentences on the blackboard. If you could make God bleed, people wouldn't believe in him. When there is blood in the water, it attracts sharks. What does this mean? Pepper clutched her chest nervously. These words made her feel a little scared. It's of great significance, Aaron said with a smile. Vanko assassinated Tony Stark in an attempt to show the world that even a god can bleed. This would undermine people's faith in Tony and attract more enemies, like sharks drawn to blood in the water. From that moment on, Iron Man was no longer the exclusive domain of Tony Stark. He had humiliated a group of politicians at the hearing, but now they had a chance to retaliate. I guarantee if you turn on the TV right now, the headlines will be a diatribe against Tony Stark. Tony turned on the TV mounted on the wall. The first channel featured the congressman he had ridiculed at the hearing. It's really unbelievable. This proves that his technology has been imitated, yet he still behaves recklessly. He treats Iron Man as a toy. Mr. Stark was very adamant during the hearing that the iron armor wouldn't be seen anywhere for at least the next 5 to 10 years, but we saw it in Monaco. Tony turned off the TV in disgust. I hate this guy. Sooner or later, I have to confront him again. They're starting to fight back, right? Aaron asked. So what? I don't care, Tony replied indifferently. They are just a bunch of clowns. As long as you ignore them, there is nothing they can do. Just because you don't care doesn't mean no one cares, Aaron said, glancing pointedly at Pepper. As the newly appointed CEO of Stark Industries, if something like this happens, you can hide and wait for the news to pass, but most of the pressure will fall on Miss Potts. Don't underestimate the moral bottom line of politicians. Ha ha! Beautiful, Tony muttered, pursing his lips. Any suggestions? Give them what they want, Aaron suggested. What? You call this advice? Tony almost laughed in anger. What they want is Iron Man, and what they want is me. Do you understand? Just give them the finished product, not the technology, Aaron said, exasperated. You are the genius Tony Stark. It shouldn't be difficult for you to remotely control the steel armor with artificial intelligence. As you said at the hearing before, no one will be able to develop steel armor in 5 to 10 years. Hearing this, Tony's eyes sparkled with realization. You mean? Some time ago, a policeman came to see me and prepared a pair of silver bracelets. I couldn't convince them, but I brought out my shield ID, and it turned out to be a misunderstanding. If you compare the police to those politicians, what can you compare to S.H.I.E.L.D.? The military, Tony blurted out. Smart. The only thing in the United States that can compare with politics is the military. The steel armor you contribute cannot be rejected by the military, no matter what. They will stand by you unconditionally. Then the disgusting faces of politicians will disappear immediately because there is no benefit in scolding you, and there is even a risk of being warned by the military. Chapter 720. The Mark II is given away. The alliance between Hammer and Vanko. At S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Nick Fury listened intently to Aaron's vivid speech on the radio. Silently, he raised the danger levels for Aaron in his mind. Calm, decisive, rational, coupled with his divination ability and the so-called regenerator ability. Fortunately, he is controllable. Otherwise, he would definitely be a significant threat. Director, Coulson said, looking conflicted. I have contacted the agents in Monaco. There is indeed a problem in the prison. Ivan Vanko was bombed to death. The serial number of the corpse's clothes, blood type, and even the remaining fingerprints were exactly the same as those of Ivan Vanko. However, the body was badly bombed, and the face was severely burned, making it difficult to distinguish. Damn it! He really got it right, Nick Fury cursed. We don't know who kidnapped him yet, do we? It takes time. There are too many people who could have done it. Forget it. Don't waste time on this matter. This person will reveal themselves eventually, Nick Fury said, waving his hand dismissively. Are you ready? Ready, Coulson replied, glancing at a box next to him labeled Howard Stark. Send it over now? Wait for news about Natasha. You and I will go there together and meet our S.H.I.E.L.D. pharmacist, by the way. At Stark's Ocean View Villa, in the laboratory, Tony Stark scrutinized the limited information about Ivan Vanko displayed on the screen by Jarvis. He couldn't figure out the grudge between Vanko and Stark, as it happened decades ago, making it difficult to uncover. Aaron, lounging lazily on the sofa with a bottle of wine worth $2 million, watched TV. He had to admit that these congressmen were sarcastic, yet proficient in not using a single curse word throughout their speeches. "Tony," Rhodes hurried over. "Thank God you came to me on your own initiative. Listen to me. You have to get the situation under control as soon as possible. I've been on the phone with the National Guard all day long. They are already considering whether to bring tanks over and steal your armor. They are too lazy to play games anymore. And you said no one would have this technology in 20 years. Guess what? Someone had it yesterday, and it's no longer a theory." "I know. I came to you just to solve this matter." Rhodes was stunned for a moment. "Have you figured out how to solve it?" "Think about it," Tony said, patting Rhodes on the shoulder. "I have a gift for you. Didn't Pepper tell you?" "She mentioned it, but who cares about gifts at this time?" "You have to care, and you have to take it," Tony insisted. He snapped his fingers, and the glass display cabinet in the corner slowly opened, revealing the silver Mark II armor. "Stop pretending to be reserved. I know you've always wanted to drive it away." "This," Rhodes swallowed, trying to suppress his excitement. "Is this a joke? What do you think?" "It must be a joke. You can't give away the armor on your own initiative." "It depends on who you give it to," Tony replied. He walked up to Aaron, picked up the wine bottle, and poured himself a drink. "But first of all, the Mark II armor can only be used by you alone." "Tony," Rhodes said worriedly, "don't scare me. Nothing happened to you, right?" "This is called a close friend, right?" Aaron said half-jokingly. "No one else saw it." "Don't get me wrong. He just suspects that my brain was burned out." Tony rolled his eyes, then took out a medical detector from his pocket. "Look at this." Rhodes took a look at the data and his pupils widened. "Blood poisoning, 32%. Not dead yet." "He's about to die," Rhodes said, pacing back and forth in a panic. "No wonder you gave Mark II to me. I don't want your inheritance." "Can't you hope for something better for me? The situation is quite serious, but that doesn't mean I'm dead," Tony pointed at Aaron. "He can save me." "What exactly is going on?" Rhodes asked, bewildered. Tony took a deep breath and removed the arc reactor from his chest, revealing a smoking palladium core. An energy plate popped out of the device. Tony opened a cigar box, took out a new palladium energy plate, and replaced the old one. He then reinserted the arc reactor back into his chest. Rhodes looked at the burnt palladium energy plate and seemed to understand something. "This thing has always been in your body, right? No wonder you were poisoned," Rhodes remarked. "I don't want it to be, but my life depends on it," Tony replied, spreading his hands. "The thing that saved my life is also taking it away. Isn't it ironic?" "Why are you telling me this now?" Rhodes asked. "I thought I could solve the problem myself, so there was no need to tell you," Tony explained. "Ha-ha! Tony, no wonder you've been acting strangely lately," Rhodes said, rubbing his forehead tiredly. "Does Pepper know?" "I didn't want to tell her at first," Tony admitted, glaring at Aaron, "but someone couldn't help snitching on me." "Forget it. I won't argue with you." "So, how do you plan to solve this problem?" Rhodes inquired. "I need to find a new element to replace palladium. Unfortunately, I've tried all possibilities and failed," Tony said. "Can you find it?" Rhodes asked, looking at Aaron. "Don't look at me like that. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't confident. If the medicine I provided hadn't eliminated some of the toxins, his blood toxicity would be at least 80% by now. It would be impossible to continue treatment," Aaron explained. Tony shrugged. "He's right." Rhodes nodded thoughtfully. "What about the Mark II?" "I can give it to you, but the military will have to give me something in return," Tony said meaningfully. "I need to focus on finding new elements and don't want to waste time dealing with those annoying congressmen. Do you understand what I mean?" "I completely understand," Rhodes said, looking at the Mark II armor. He couldn't contain the excitement in his eyes. "I promise you, as long as I drive this thing to the military zone, all problems will be solved. But Tony, have you really thought this through?" "I only gave you permission to use it, Rod," Tony said confidently. "You won't do anything with it that I wouldn't want to see." Rhodes curled his lips. "You're really good at judging people." "Won't you give it a try?" Tony asked. "I can't wait any longer," Rhodes said eagerly. He stepped forward, and the silver armor automatically dressed him, soon covering his whole body. "It's the coolest thing in the world, and it feels really good." "Fly out along the passage and don't demolish my house," Tony said angrily. You don't need me to teach you what to tell the military. Rhodes took a deep breath, activated the jet device, and slowly lifted off the ground. Wait for my good news, he said before flying out along the passage, cheers echoing continuously.